3, 2. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Sideline Podcast. It is your host, Adam Flores, joined once again by co-host Christopher Marquez. Today, we actually finally have some video, Chris. You want to explain a little bit about what's going on with the video today?
So we got 2 cameras up, actually. I'm looking straight at them. What's up, guys? Now you can actually put a face to our stupid voices here. But yeah, I mean, we finally got the camera set up. One of them, I don't know if it's going to last due to the battery, but we have a backup just in case. And we actually decked out the studio finally. Well, Adam did. I just found all these random props in my house, just random shit that we found. And then, yeah, so the camera setup is there to incorporate the video for YouTube because it doesn't make sense to have podcasts on YouTube without a video. So that's why those cameras are here. So shout out to you, Adam.
Thank you.
I think we have a round of applause here. Here we go. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, there
Sorry about that. Still working on the production here a little bit. But yeah, so what I'm doing, guys, really fast because I'm a degenerate, is I'm throwing parlay really fast. And I need to do this because I'm running out of time.
Well, bless your soul. But today, we actually got the last of the play-in tournament for the NBA. We got the Heat and the Hawks starting in literally like 15 minutes. So we're recording this 4:45 p.m. on a beautiful Friday afternoon. And then
Friday afternoon pods, they've actually been
they've been pretty consistent on Fridays.
Pretty nice.
We were doing it Saturdays and then pushing it towards Sundays. Now we're back on Fridays. Next week we're gonna be tune in for next week because we're gonna try and push that video out like as humanly fast as possible.
Is that the draft one?
That is the draft. So next week is draft week, guys. I hope you guys are excited because I know I am.
I'm scared.
And today we're actually going to be talking about the draftees. Do you want to just jump right into it, or do you want to talk about the NBA a little bit?
I thought we were going to discuss some ball.
Yeah, we can discuss some ball. So we got the Heat Hawks, and then we got the Mavericks Grizzlies. If you guys are aware, both the Mavs and the Heat won by like 20 on Wednesday, right? They won both their matchups, and they were able to get into the next round. So whoever wins this is in, and they play the number 1 seed. Either the Mavs or the Grizzlies will play the Thunder, and then either the Heat or the Hawks will play the Cavs.
The Atlanta game was close, and then Trae Young got ejected. He picked up 2 technicals pretty fast.
Yeah, he picked them up like back-to-back, didn't he?
And, yeah, so that kind of, I mean, that derailed the Hawks because they go as Trae Young goes. Dyson Daniels, another good young player that's on the Hawks. He's really good. He's a power forward. He plays the 4, but he's a very good defender. I think he leads the league in steals this year. And then they're going up against Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. Andrew Wiggins on that team too. So I'm favoring the Heat in that one. Yeah, they might not be able to challenge for the number 1 seed. I mean, like, they are going to be the 8th seed, so obviously they're not going to be favored in their next round matchup. But the Heat have always had a good rapport of when they get into the playoffs, they usually do well, i.e. the last 2 years with Jimmy Butler. But we'll see how that goes. And then on the West, I don't know. I don't like either of those teams. I don't like the Grizzlies at all. I really don't like Ja Morant. Well, I mean, it's not that I don't like him. I just don't like.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't know some of the shenanigans that him and Desmond Bane will pull, but I don't know. Those are interesting matchups, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get this parlay in, so that sucks.
I mean, you still got 12 minutes.
I'm trying, but it's very distracting. Like,
if you want me to buy 12 minutes,
Jaren Jackson Jr., 21.5 points against Dallas. I don't know.
That's rough.
That's rough. But
the Mavs were on one against the Kings on Wednesday. Their defense was actually very outstanding for once, at least this season. They finally have like a healthy roster outside of. I think Kyrie is really the only starter that's injured. I mean, RIP Kyrie because he had his ACL injury. But Anthony Davis was actually finally able to pull off a decent performance for Dallas. I think he dropped like 27 points on Wednesday. So shout out Anthony Davis and Klay Thompson.
Klay had like 8 buckets made. I think he had like 23 points.
Yeah, he had like 21 or 23. He caught
shot,
fire
Klay.
in the second quarter. I think he dropped 16 alone in the second quarter.
That's what Klay Thompson does, man.
Yeah, you let him catch fire and he's dangerous. But if he's not on one, then he's just not on one. I mean, he'll score you 4 points or he'll score you 24 points. You know, that's just how today's Klay is. I mean, if we were talking about Klay Thompson 4, 5, 6 years ago, we'd be having a completely different conversation. But Mavericks are the number 10 seed. Technically, they would be the 8 seed if they were to get in, but technically they're the 10 seed. And then the same thing with the Heat, I believe. I believe the Heat was also the number 10 seed, and if they were to get in, they would be the 8 seed. And then obviously play the Thunder and the Cavs. But let's preview these first round games a little bit. So we got Bucks Pacers. How do you feel about that one? I think that's like one of the more interesting matchups in the first round. Dame was actually cleared from his blood clots.
Blood clots,
So he should be good to go. I don't know if he's good to go game 1, but I know he's going to be good to go for the playoffs. So Bucks Pacers, I got the Bucks in that one if Dame is healthy.
Is that game on Saturday or Sunday?
It's tomorrow. It's on Saturday.
Okay, so the slates are Saturday and Sunday.
We got 4 games tomorrow.
4 games Saturday, and then the rest on Sunday because the Warriors play Sunday. But that matchup is going to come down to if Dame is healthy, him and Giannis together. I mean, the Pacers don't really have anything that can compare to that. I mean, they have Tyrese Halliburton, but he's going to have a hard time having big games night in and night out because the defense is going to lock in on him. I also like the fact that the Bucks have so much playoff experience going forward that it's just like you automatically assume that they should be able to beat the Pacers probably within 5 games, I would say.
Yeah, on paper the Bucks are the better team just overall, offense, defense. They're just the more complete team compared to the Pacers. But the Pacers, I mean, we've seen them challenge teams in the past before. We've seen them challenge the Knicks. We've even seen them semi-challenge the Celtics last year, even though the Celtics went on their tear. But I believe that it's very winnable for either one of these teams, but I believe the Bucks are victorious at the end of the day, I guess you could say. Clippers Nuggets would be the next game after that.
That's an interesting series.
That is interesting. You got Jokic, who's potentially MVP this year, even though I don't think he's going to win it.
Well,
but
that's not the biggest storyline for them.
Hold on a minute. What you got over there, Chris?
Don't mind me. I'm just casually pouring myself a glass of beer. Don't mind me.
Just a slight 62 ouncer.
Yeah, I don't know how many ounces this thing is. Well, thanks for drawing attention to this. I wasn't going to say anything. I wanted it to just be like one of those things.
That's my bad. I could not help it. I mean, look at the size.
I don't even know if I can drink
Hold that
from
thing
this
next to your head. Hold that thing next to the mic, just for comparison as to how big that is.
This thing's fucking huge, dude.
God bless, dude. That thing. You know what? I think I got.
I think if they sold these at restaurants, you could have like 2 max, and they'd cut you off.
Max.
But I'm gonna have like 5. So what's up? What's good, everyone? But yeah, that matchup, the Clips matchup.
Hold on. Go ahead and measure that thing real quick. Just
Dude, wait. He fucking pulls out a fucking measuring tape. Where did you get that from?
Shout out tape measures.
Dude, how small is that thing? Oh, I know why it's so small. Okay. We're not going to get into that.
It's got a marking on the 3-inch mark.
Yeah. Adam, he's a grower, not a shower. Or so I've heard. That's what the word is.
All right, Clippers Nuggets. We got
now you want to talk Clippers Nuggets. But when I start talking about you and your size or lack thereof.
Why do you want to be talking about my size?
You pulled out a ruler or whatever this is. The tape measure, that's not a ruler. I haven't seen a ruler.
So we got
in a long
a healthy James Harden.
A healthy Kawhi.
Healthy Kawhi. Healthy Ben Simmons.
Is Kawhi ever healthy, though? I don't know.
Kawhi, isn't it his knees that are always like questionable?
Maybe we should ask the Spurs.
Nicholas Batum is actually on this team. Shout out 39-year-old Nicholas Batum, or however old he is.
Where did he make his hay in the NBA? Which team?
Wasn't he on the Trailblazers?
Portland Trailblazers with Brandon Roy.
He's 36. I was close enough.
He's probably one of the oldest guys. Well, besides like Al Horford.
Or like obviously LeBron.
LeBron.
I think
he's
Curry is what, 35?
He's like 35, 36. But anyways, he's one of the guys that can still get buckets for his age.
Yeah.
Obviously, his role is diminished. I mean, you're playing behind Harden. You're playing behind Kawhi. And then Ben Simmons is not really like a true factor because it's Ben Simmons.
Have Norman Powell.
Norman Powell is a very good shooting guard, very good 3-point shooter, excellent from the free throw line. That guy can get hot really fast. So that's going to be a good matchup for them against the Nuggets because the Nuggets are actually under a new coach. They switched coaches. They fired Mike Malone probably about a week ago now. Maybe a little more, maybe like 2 weeks ago.
Well, on the other side of the ball, we got the Nuggets who actually fired their head coach not that long ago as well.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the...
No,
The Clippers.
No,
No,
I
that's
said the Nuggets,
I was not
bro.
locked in.
You were
I was
not
just
paying
like-
attention.
I wasn't paying attention to the names you were saying. But we got Nikola Jokic, Russell Westbrook, Jamal Murray, Aaron
Michael Porter
Gordon,
Jr..
Michael Porter Jr. I mean, this team is not like it's not
Christian Braun.
It's not 5 stars. You know, it's not.
Dude,
5
that's
out
a
of
very
5.
good team, though.
It's a great team. It's a solid team.
That's
but it's
like-
like Russell Westbrook isn't in his prime anymore.
No,
right?
no,
Obviously,
no, but
everybody knows
he's
that.
not. He's
And
not
like
going to play that
Michael
role, though.
Porter and Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon are not like top 30 players in the league.
Jamal
you know?
Murray is for sure.
You think so?
Yes, dude. He's one of the best point guards in the league by
I
far.
mean, I don't really know.
I mean,
ball like that.
because
We
he
all know
plays
that.
with Jokic. That's why people don't know him. If he was
Well,
by
yeah.
himself, if that was his team,
Okay, so if Jokic isn't on this team, let's say
they're still a playoff team.
you
for
think
sure.
they're still a
Yeah,
playoff
of
team without
course.
Jokic,
Yeah, because everybody else would have increased roles.
but they're not like 4 seed.
Aaron Gordon Jr. was like a number 1 overall pick at one point.
Really?
Right, he's not a junior. Aaron Gordon, sorry. Michael Porter Jr.
So where is this team seated without Jokic?
Probably like they're probably in the play-in somewhere.
Like 8?
They're better than Sacramento without Jokic for sure.
Wow.
They're probably better than Dallas
valid.
too without Jokic. If you think about it.
Yeah, that's pretty valid.
I mean, Jokic is just one of those players that everyone around him is elevated. But if he wasn't there, they still have a very good team. I mean, a team that could still really contend, maybe not at the highest levels, but like I said, a decent play-in team, I would say, without Jokic. But
right.
I mean, this matchup is going to come down to.
All right, so 7-game series. Who are you taking?
Well,
Clippers,
I mean,
Nuggets.
I'm going the Nuggets. Obviously, the Clippers can never get it done in the playoffs. It is interesting that this is a first round matchup, so that'll be cool. But
Yeah.
James Harden and Kawhi are going to have to go absolutely crazy in this one, and then they're going to need help from like Zubac to contain Jokic because for size. He matches up well, but his mobility is what's going to get him in trouble if he's stepping out on the perimeter. They're going to put him in a bunch of pick and roll, so watch out for that.
All right, next game up, we got the Pistons and the Knicks. That's at 4 p.m. I believe, is this Mountain Time or Standard or Eastern Time?
No,
I think it's
I mean,
Mountain. Well, because we're in Mountain, so
Yeah, so
it'll
they're
be
gonna be
6
playing
p.m.
at 6
Eastern
o'clock.
Time. We got Pistons Knicks. 7-game series. I mean, I'm taking the Knicks all day. Honestly, that's my take. I really like Jalen Brunson. When he is healthy, he's a dog. He's a dog. And then they added Karl Anthony Towns. And then who else do they? Oh, they got rid of Dante DiVincenzo, didn't they?
Yeah, they traded him. I mean,
They got Josh Hart still.
Josh Hart's a very good not 3-point shooter, very good defender, very good rebounder. I mean, the Knicks have a decent team, but just the firepower alone with Cat and Jalen Brunson is going to really. It's going to be hard for them, especially Detroit. They're a young team, a very young team led by Cade Cunningham. He's everything that you would want out of a young player. He's a very good scorer, but it's going to be hard for them to contain Brunson and Cat, plus all the additional pieces that the Knicks have. And I would say that this one probably also a 5-game series, I would say.
You think 5? So
Yeah,
the
I mean-
Knicks win in 5
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's the Pistons, dude. The Pistons have been one of the worst.
historically.
Well, not historically because they've had some
Yeah,
good
that's-
years,
that's
but
true, yeah.
recently, as of recent, they've been one of the worst teams.
Well, they had Malik Beasley, who shot over 300 or who made over 300.
He's leading the
three-pointers
league
this
in
year.
threes.
Is he
Malik
number
Beasley.
1?
Yeah.
I thought Anthony Edwards was number 1.
He might have surpassed him.
Okay.
But I mean, it's just his volume. He just takes so many shots, and he feeds off of the defense's keying in on Cade Cunningham, which will help him get open shots. But he's just a volume scorer, like anywhere he's been. So he is a nice compliment. But if he's your number 2, then you're in trouble.
All right. Well, next up we got the Minnesota Timberwolves. Speaking of Anthony Edwards, we got Timberwolves and the Lakers. That's going to be
Lake Show.
That's going to be a wild first round series. I think that'll be the best of them all first round. Maybe second to the Warriors and the Rockets. But
That's the most intriguing series.
that might, yeah. Both of those are going to be really good. We know how the Warriors and the Lakers went mid-season with trades. Lakers acquired Luka Doncic, and then the Warriors acquired playoff Jimmy. So he really put on a show against was it the Timberwolves or no? It was the Grizzlies. He put on a show against the Grizzlies. I think he dropped 37 points, and then Curry also dropped like 34 in that game too. So they both went crazy, and I think they're on a mission this year. I think Curry's on a mission to get one more ring before he retires, but so is LeBron, you know, and Luka has something to prove. He has something to prove, and he wants to show out, and he wants to put the Mavs to shame. You know, he dropped 45 on them when he returned to Dallas, and I think that's what he wants to do in the playoffs. Is he wants to make a deep run, and he wants to show them this is where you guys messed up. You know, so no matter what the reason is that they traded him for, he wants to put on a clinic, and I think the Warriors are also on a mission too. So give me the Lakers over the Timberwolves in 6. And then give me the Warriors over the Rockets in also probably like 6 games.
The matchup with the Lakers is gonna. Well, I mean, LeBron's gonna do his thing. Obviously,
right?
That's a given, right? But it's gonna be the guys besides him and Luka. Can Dalton Connect have a good game?
Austin Reeves.
Can these guys show up and
Bronny James?
Bronny's not going to see the floor. I'm sorry.
I
mean, LeBron's even going to tell him you're not.
How cool would it be if he did though?
He's not.
If he dropped like a 30-point game.
He's not in the rotation. Playoff rotations.
I'm just saying.
Are about 7-8 players deep for most teams, and so he's not going to see the floor at all unless there's a bunch of injuries or blowouts or something.
It's usually a 7-man rotation.
But usually most teams will go 7-8 deep. 9 if they want to rotate in someone that's like just a D guy that just locks down somebody. But yeah, you're going to see shortened rotations, more minutes for the starters, more minutes for the key sub players that come in. If that's the case, then you would say that the Lakers have an upper hand. I mean, you're going to see Rudy Gobert. He's going to be the focal point defensively for the Timberwolves, trying to get Luka and LeBron out of the paint and force them to shoot the threes. But that's why I'm saying that Austin Reeves and company are going to have to step up and score from the outside, because Gobert, former defensive player of the year, will have the paint on lock. He's going to be a liability on the offensive end. He's not going to score a lot, but you are going to have to live with that in order to have his defense there. The Lakers should win that probably within 5 or 6, and then the Houston one is actually probably that's probably the hardest matchup the Warriors could have.
I think that series can go to 7 games. Very easily.
It can, but it's probably the worst matchup the Warriors could have gotten, because everything that the Warriors are not, the Houston Rockets are. And what I mean by that is they're young, they're energetic, they play very good defense. They have the bodies to throw at Steph. They have a big man in Sengun. They have a veteran in Dylan Brooks. So they have guys that have been there before. So that's going to be interesting, but what's going to really dictate how that series goes is the role players for the Warriors. And I'm talking Draymond Green, Gary Payton III, Quinton Post, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield will see some minutes in this one. You'll see the Warriors playing with a shorter rotation as well. You'll see Brandon Podziemski come in to rotate the point guard minutes with Steph. So that's going to be a matchup that it can go either way, but if Steph and playoff Jimmy, if they can wear down the Rockets, especially trying to guard Steph is a fucking task for anybody. If they can get the upper hand, and I'm saying if they can win they need to split the first home games. They can't leave Houston down 0-2. Yeah. So they need to win one in Houston, go back to the Bay, try to lock in those next 2 games, and then go from there. But it's not going to be as easy as it looks on paper, because a lot of people are, including myself, I was like, it's the fucking Rockets, dude. They never win anything.
No, they're pretty badass this year.
I started looking at them and their roster, and Amen Thompson is very, very good. He's a very good young player. Jalen Green's a very solid young player. So they do have some depth. So it should be a good matchup against the Warriors. But I do expect one game from Steph where he just fucking balls, and that could be the difference.
And then the last matchup we got, since we are unaware of who's going to play the Thunder and the Cavs, it's going to be the Magic and the Celtics. Celtics are the number 2 seed, so that puts the Magic at the 7 seed. They won their play-in game against the Hawks. It's the Magic. They are in the playoffs, so you can never count anybody out in the playoffs. But did you see that at the end of that Hawks game, the Magic fans were all like, "We want Boston." I'm like, bro, you guys do not want Boston. Like, relax.
Yeah, they need to chill on that.
Celtics, I say they sweep them, or they get them in 6 or in 5. Sorry.
Pablo Banchero is a very good young player. They also have that Wagner guy. They got 2 Wagners, but one of them's not playing right now. They got Anthony Black, another young point guard, and then they do have some depth. They got Cole Anthony in the backcourt too that will help run the point. But in the 7-game series against Boston, you would think that Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, that's just too much to handle along with with Derek White and Al Horford, their role players that have seemed to have been there forever. Boston should have the ability to just kind of maybe not sweep them, but yeah, get it done
Breeze by
like within
them
5.
very
Yeah.
easily. Yeah.
And that's going to be their goal. I mean, right now, the teams that are playing in these favorable matchups, they want to win the series as soon as possible, get some more rest time for their players going forward, because the NBA playoffs is a fucking trek if you get all the way to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, I think how many rounds is there? 4 rounds, including the finals. It's 4 rounds.
The play-in, I guess.
Okay,
but
well, minus the play-in.
Not everybody's in the play-in.
Right, so it's round 1, and then round 2, and then round 3, and then the finals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the most amount of games you can possibly play is 28 games in the playoffs.
Yeah, which is a lot.
Yeah, that's a quarter of the season.
You're playing it also within. They're going to start.
Or that's almost half a season.
They're starting April. The end of April, well, I guess mid-April if you want to call it that.
Yeah, it's April 20th.
And then they're going to go all the way till June. The finals is usually in June, so it's a lot of basketball. Months. So if these guys can end the series in 4 or 5 games, it's beneficial because they can get some extra rest. Because, like I said, the playoffs is a fucking trek in the NBA.
Is the NBA playoffs like the NFL playoffs, where it's like you have to wait for everybody to finish, or like let's say?
What do you mean by that?
So like I would have to
like
have
where
the
they
bracket.
play the games at the same time,
Right? Because like I would have to have the bracket in front of me, but like let's say the Bucks and the Knicks match up, right? And like that's the only possible matchup. Like I would have to see it on paper, but if they were the only possible matchup, could they move on to game 2 before another matchup moves on to game 2?
No,
second round.
So no, they don't start the second round until
everybody's in. Okay.
So like the teams that sweep, right? They're going to already be scheduled to start on a certain day.
Gotcha.
So they'll start the second round earlier than the teams that are playing all these other late series, but they still will start it right away.
Okay.
So it's like as soon as that last first round game is over, the second round will start like a day or 2 later, but they're not going to be playing at the same time.
Gotcha.
And that's why I'm saying that's where their ability is to get some rest, is using that time frame. If they can just get a sweep or get out of the playoffs or get out of that round in 5 games, then you have that extra time to heal up and recover.
All right, so let's jump into the NFL. I got 2 little news notes here. There's not much going on right now. There's a couple role players being signed here and there, but nothing major. We got Kadarius Toney. I know he's been like a big meme around social media where he's always dropping balls and he just looks funny. Like his little his NFL profile photo looks like a mugshot.
His name alone.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney, he retires from the NFL after 4 years. He was drafted in 2021 in the first round. I think he was pick 20 or pick 22, something like that, by the New York Giants. Went on to win 2 rings, actually, with the Chiefs. So he's got 2 rings in his back pocket. But he retired from the NFL because he wanted to pursue a rap career. Did you know that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, he wants to be called Young Joka.
Solid rap name, I guess.
I mean, I listened to a little snippet of his little. I guess he's got like a EP out, or I don't know if it's just one song, but it wasn't terrible. I mean, I've heard worse. Like Darren Waller's worse than him.
But you got to be careful with that, because the reason they sound so good is they have money to be in the state of the art studios with badass engineers and producers. Like, they're not like. I mean, I'm not trying to say he's not a true musician or a true rapper.
It's not like he made like $50 million.
No, I know.
I mean,
but
he played 4 years.
But also, like, at the same time, I'm like, dude, play like in 2 more years and then get another bag, and then the rapping will always be there.
Yeah,
but
that's
I don't
fair.
know.
Rap game will always be
But
there.
maybe his bars are just that sick, you know? Like,
he has to get them out now. He's like, I need the world to hear it.
Like, this flows for everybody, you know what I mean? And they need this now, you know what I mean? So...
And then we got Aaron Rodgers,
though.
who is still contemplating retirement. He came out saying that he is, quote, not dragging along any teams. I don't know about that. I think he's
signs with the Cowboys.
That would be horrible. He's absolutely waiting until after the draft to see who is still up for a quarterback. We just got recent news. I should have wrote this down, but this is off the top of my head. We got recent news that Derek Carr has actually been dealing with a throwing arm shoulder injury that might sideline him for at least the beginning of the season. And if it does require surgery, then it could hold him out for the entire season, which now puts the Saints in the market for a quarterback, potentially in the draft. And then there's a lot of news that Shador might be dropping, but we'll get into that right now when we talk about our positions. So Aaron Rodgers, maybe to New Orleans, maybe to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh still doesn't have a quarterback. Worst case scenario, if the Titans don't actually end up going Cam Ward, they sign Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers could fit into a lot of teams still. But I think right now there's a lot of teams. This is probably one of the years where every team has had like a solidified quarterback, except for maybe like 4 teams.
Well, he's not going to go just to any team, though.
Right. No, I mean, he's
not
going to
go to the
any
Titans,
team.
dude. Like, there's no way.
I mean,
it's the Titans.
Would you rather be in Tennessee or in Pittsburgh?
No, but I mean, what he's looking for is a contender. That's the only reason he's going to play again. He's not going to go for a rebuild. It's like Brady. Brady went to contender. He didn't go, you know where I should be? In Arizona on the golf course. Let's go to fucking the Cardinals. Like, nah, that's not going to happen.
I mean, Arizona's got some pretty nice golf courses.
Right, but they're nowhere near being a championship contender. So if you say like Rodgers, who he's doing the same thing Brady did, is picking his time and waiting to see, and then he's going to choose a contender.
I guess
and
that's
it's not going to be, like I said, like the Titans. Yes, Nashville's a beautiful place to live, I'm sure. Great country music scene out there. But Aaron Rodgers is looking for somewhere where he can just be slid into the starting lineup and already be a contender day one once the season starts.
All right, so do you know what we're doing today,
Tyron
Chris?
Smith also
he did retire. There was also another Ryan Ramczyk. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's got like a
just
ZYK.
disrespected Tyron Smith right there, dude.
Well,
I was about to give him a fucking heartfelt
Shout
message.
Shout out Tyron Smith after 13 seasons in the
never
NFL,
mind,
I believe.
Dude. Loyal,
and
by
then
the way.
Ryan Ramczyk. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he was also in the league for 7 years, retired from the Saints. So shout out the offensive linemen for retiring because they don't get enough love. You know, they protect our quarterbacks.
I'll never forget that season. Tyron Smith had like a broken elbow and he still played, and he had like it was like a transformer arm.
Oh yeah,
or like a brace on his left arm.
Yeah,
and I was like, dude, that's a weapon right there. That guy could fucking swing his arm and knock 3 people unconscious.
All right,
but yes, shout out lineman.
Today we are doing a little matchmaker episode. We are going to be going over the top 3 players in the draft per skill position.
What do you mean matchmaker? What does that mean?
Okay, so we're going to be
just
going
where
over,
they fit best?
Yeah, kind of where we believe they would fit best.
Matchmaking sounds like speed dating.
Yeah, it's almost like we're going to be doing like a speed dating. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go like XYZ, and then you're going to be like, oh, they fit best with ABC. You know what I'm saying? That make a little.
It's kind of hard to do, but okay, yeah. That
all right,
makes
so
sense.
we're not gonna like. I don't want to spend 20 minutes on each position or on each player, should I say?
That's what you always say.
I know. So let's try and keep it to.
We're gonna keep it to a minimum here, and then 2 hours in, we're like, oh yeah. By the way, we haven't even touched the tight ends.
You had me heated on KD last week.
Yeah, you're still wrong about that.
If you guys didn't check that episode out.
And I proved your point, too.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No.
Yes,
if
we're
you
not
guys
gonna
didn't check out the last
again.
episode, make sure you check it out. Make sure you also hit that like button, that subscribe button. It's right next to it. They're both free, Chris. They're both free to click. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications so you are notified every time we post. We're on every social media platform you can think of. TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I mean, there's not a Spotify, Apple Podcasts. MySpace. We're on Omegle, guys.
Bro, MySpace was a fucking buy back in the day.
I was too young for that.
Yeah, no, it's good.
All right, let's start off with the QBs.
You wouldn't appreciate it, honestly.
I appreciated it a little bit. I was, on Caitlin's old laptop. Anyways, okay, let's get into QBs. So we're going to skip Cam Ward simply because I know we were talking about the top 3. We're going to be skipping Cam Ward simply because he is projected to go 1 of 1 to the Titans. So there's not really much to say about the first overall quarterback. I mean, there is a lot to say, but there's not much to be like, oh, well, maybe he goes here or maybe he goes there because his spot is pretty solidified on the Titans. So we're going to be starting out with quarterback from Colorado, Shador Sanders. I know you know Shador. I know you know a little bit of Coach Prime's quarterback. Shador Sanders. I didn't know how to pronounce his name for the longest time. I thought it was Shooter.
I mean, I think obviously he's getting overhyped because of his dad.
Absolutely.
Right? Primetime Dion.
No, that's not his dad. Oh, yeah, it is.
What do you mean it's not his dad? It's his coach as well.
I was thinking of Travis Hunter.
No, Travis Hunter is the other guy.
I know.
He's the wide receiver cornerback.
That was my mistake.
Shador is the actual quarterback, and he throws the ball to Travis Hunter. But yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna. I mean, okay, so having the last name Sanders, being coached by Dion, who's your dad, NFL legend, it's a big deal. He's gonna benefit from that. I don't care what anyone says because some owner's gonna be like, "Oh, dude, it has to work. It's his son." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he is a good player, man. He's a very good quarterback. I mean, they're playing at Colorado, which is like not traditional, like your powerhouse football school. Not the worst program ever, but I mean. He still led them to a very good year. They were competitive in some games, but I mean, he's gonna throw the ball. That's what he does. And so, if you're a quarterback or if you're a team looking for a quarterback that might be a little raw still, that has a good upside. I mean, Shador Sanders is a very good option. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Michael Vick or whatever. He doesn't have that mobility like that. But he is a good player. You would assume he's coming from a good coaching pedigree. He's worked with the best, having the resources that he has being Dion's son. So you would expect him to at least pan out and be like a middle of the road starter, which for some teams is all you need really. So I think he's got a bright future in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. What I noticed after watching a little bit of film on him is he doesn't really put the ball in harm's way, which is a great trait from a quarterback. You obviously don't want him throwing 42 picks a season, but he is PFF rank number 45 out of this class, and he's average draft pick of 13 and a half. So he's going around the 13 mark, which is a lot lower than people were expecting him to go to begin with. I know that he is starting to fall in some drafts, and it might be a little concerning because he did come out saying that he came out with a high ego. He came out saying, I don't want to play for this team, this team, this team. I don't exactly know which teams those were, but he says Titans. That he absolutely does have preferences.
The Browns.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it. But I have seen him drop all the way back to even like 12, 19. And that's why there's a lot of rumors saying that maybe the Saints could be in the market for someone like Shador Sanders. I think he has a lot of upside. I don't think he's very pro-ready like Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is more pro-ready than Shador is. But I think Shador is one of those guys where if you let him sit a year or if he's in the right scheme, if he's actually protected by a good offensive line, I know you can say that about a lot of quarterbacks, but I think this is a very pocket passer quarterback to where he doesn't have that high scrambling ability the way that somebody like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson can do. And he's not also very super strong to where he can stiff arm any guy coming off the line.
He's a smaller guy.
Yeah, he's a very small guy.
He's bigger than us,
right?
But
obviously,
NFL standards, He's right. Not Kyler Murray small, but he's also not
Josh Allen big.
He's somewhere in the middle.
He's somewhere in the middle. I think he can be a great quarterback in the league if he is coached right and if he is treated right. Like we've seen a lot of quarterbacks mistreated by certain franchises, similar to like Sam Darnold being drafted by the Jets or Baker Mayfield drafted by the Browns, and they just do them dirty.
I just thought of something though.
What's up?
If your dad is Dion, is he going to be like one of those overbearing dads that's like trying to convince the coaches that his kids should start? Kind of like what's his name? Like LeVar Ball, or no? What's the dad's name?
Yeah, LeVar.
Is it LeVar?
It's LeVar.
Okay,
it's LiAngelo Lamello.
Yeah,
Alonso.
That guy was full of shit, dude.
Was he really?
Yeah, from the beginning.
Dang, I didn't know.
And
that.
I mean, he was just such a pain in the ass for teams to be around because he just thinks that his kids are better than everyone, which I'm sure if you're a dad that you probably have that preconceived notion, but in the NFL or in the NBA, things are different. So I wonder if teams look at that and say, maybe we go with someone like Jackson Dart instead of Sanders because of this. I don't know, just something that it's one of those things that people don't think about.
Yeah, well, Jackson Dart is actually the next name that we got here on this list. Quarterback out of Ole Miss. He's only 22 years old, I believe.
He should be super accurate with a name like Dart.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty badass name. He had 4,000 north of 4,000 passing yards last year, almost 30 touchdowns, so only 6 interceptions. With a QBR of 86.3. He was actually 4th ranked in all of FBS, which is fantastic. I think that's great. I think Jackson Dart, he also had a great wide receiver on his team that a lot of people are overlooking. We're going to get into him later. I actually have him here as an honorable mention later. But I think Jackson Dart was fantastic at Ole Miss. I think people are overlooking Jackson Dart as well as his teammate. And I think Jackson Dart is somebody that can actually work out sort of like I don't like making pro comparisons simply because it's very hit or miss with guys coming out of college. You genuinely never know if they're going to be good. Like, they could be great day one starters. Sometimes they take years, like Sam Darnold or somebody like Geno Smith, who we both saw get, great contracts this offseason. But sometimes it just takes that time, and you never know. But I think I see a lot of the way they throw. I see a lot of Baker Mayfield out of Jackson Dart throwing wise. I'm not saying the way they scramble, the way they read. I'm just saying their throwing motion is very similar. And I do love me a little bit of Baker Mayfield action. But what do you think about Jackson Dart coming out of Ole Miss?
Small. He's 6'2". 6'2", 225.
That's
dude, in the NFL, that's small, dude. I
feel like that's pretty solid for a quarterback. Like, I think if you're any taller...
what, Geno's like 6'4". Dak's like 6'4".
Dak 6'4".
Josh Allen's like 6'5".
Yeah, but I think Joe Burrow's like 6'2", 6'3", isn't he?
Yeah. But I mean, it's like not all of the small quarterbacks pan out. But I mean, 6'2" is decent, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to compare him. I mean, you can compare him to someone like Baker, based on like their arm or based on their size. But one of the things that I just saw is he actually doesn't plan to attend the draft. In person.
He did.
So maybe that's an indicator that he's not being looked at in the first round, and maybe he will fall into the second or third. But I mean, Ole Miss has never really been like your classic like place to go get a quarterback from, because the way that they play their style of football is they usually tend to be run heavy. But when you're playing in the SEC and starting, I mean, you have to be thrown. You have to be good. You have to be good. You have to be comparable, or not comparable. You have to be somebody who understands the game, because in the SEC, like 1 or 2 losses will absolutely tank your season. So you have to be a competent quarterback, and the coaching staff has to feel like they can trust you, which means you're not going to be throwing a bunch of interceptions or bad passes that you just have no business throwing. But I mean, I don't know exactly like who he would fit well with NFL wise. I mean, it's kind of too early for that, but he actually started out at USC, and then he ended up over here at Ole Miss. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes and who decides to take a flyer on him.
Yeah, he has a PFF rank of 132 with an average draft pick of 37. So that's PFF does have him going early second round. I mean, it starts with pick 33, so he would be like the 4th, 5th pick of the second round. But a lot of people have speculation of him going in the first round, and he could be a surprise first rounder.
No, I don't think so.
I think if somebody does jump on him, I think it would be a team like the Jets that make a trade into the first round to grab him. If they hear rumors that somebody might want to pick him up, or the Saints or the Steelers, it could be one of those teams that trade up and get him if they do start to hear rumors that he is going. But he's ranked 132. There's other quarterbacks in front of him: Riley Leonard, Will Howard. Right behind him is Tyler Show out of Louisville. And then right in front of Will Howard is Jalen Milroe, which is our 3rd quarterback on this list. He has a PFF rank of 100 with an average draft pick of 54.6. So that's the 3rd round. Or is that late second?
54?
No, that's late second.
That's second.
Yeah, so that's late second. That's like the 23rd pick of the second round. So he's not projected to go first round. People think that he might even go 3rd, 4th round, like actual scouts. I'm not just saying like speculation or
what's crazy is they have his height and weight at the same as Jackson Dart. 6'2", 225.
6'2", 225.
That's crazy. And Jalen looks a lot bigger when you watch him.
He does look a lot bigger
when you watch him play, but maybe it's the way he plays.
I was about to say,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like Jackson Dart he just looks taller and slimmer.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe looks a little bit like stockier.
He looks like a running back.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's built like. And I think that's the way it translates to his playing style, because Jalen Milroe is more of a runner than he is a pocket passer. Jackson Dart is absolutely more of a pocket passer.
I have a rule.
A rule?
Yeah.
What's your rule?
Like no Alabama quarterbacks.
That's valid.
Yeah.
I don't like...
you can't name one recently that was like turned out to be like a legit NFL starter.
Yes.
Who?
Jalen Hurts. He just won the Super Bowl.
Dude.
Okay, yes, no. I'm not big on Jalen Hurts, but I'm just saying, like, you can name him.
And honestly, like, I think Hurts played most of his time at Oklahoma.
Tua played in Alabama. I'm not big on Tua, but he's a starter.
Yeah, I know, but like
Mac Jones.
Okay,
was
but
also
it's
on that
Alabama, so you would think that anybody that is a quarterback there would be like top of the line because it's Alabama.
Right,
but
naturally.
A lot of times the quarterbacks there benefit from the players around them because you always have NFL caliber offensive linemen. You always have NFL caliber wide receivers.
Bryce Young went to Alabama too.
Yeah, it's Bryce Young. You know what I mean?
Bryce
Like,
Young.
come on, dude. Like,
Honestly,
yes,
I mean-
you'll have their household names, but they're never the top quarterbacks in the league. If
I
you
think those are
about
the
it.
only quarterbacks from Alabama right now in the league. It's Jalen Hurts.
I'm sure there's a
Mac
few
Jones,
that are just hanging around,
Bryce Young and Tua.
like on the bench, like second, third string quarterback
Probably.
somewhere.
I mean, Mac Jones is now a second string or probably third string in San Francisco. I think he signed like a 1 year or 2 year, $6 million deal. I mean,
but yeah,
shit,
that's
I'd be
my
happy.
rule. No Alabama quarterback.
I mean, that's fair. I'm not big on Jalen Hurts. I mean, he did win MVP, won Super Bowl. Well, not league MVP, Super Bowl MVP. And then he did win a chip. So, I mean, kudos to Jalen Hurts, but it's just the team around him. That's always been my thing. But Jalen Milroe, there's been a lot of people that are big on him. I'm personally not. I'm not excited about Jalen Milroe whatsoever. I don't think he can be like a surprise QB that comes out and, is MVP caliber. I think Jackson Dart has more potential than he does, absolutely. But Jackson Dart is ranked lower on PFF than Jalen Milroe is by about 32 spots. But Jackson Dart is absolutely higher by 20 picks. So that makes a big difference. That is actually, where would you see like Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe going? Like what teams do you think like Jalen Milroe to me is like absolutely a New York quarterback. But like
the Jets?
The Jets. Like they pick him up in like the third round and they're like, okay, let's project this guy just in case Justin Fields doesn't work out.
I mean, any team could really do that if they wanted to. Maybe not any team, but like maybe like
Jalen Milroe just sounds like a
don't
Jets
know.
quarterback to me.
Maybe he like ends up like with the Browns or something. You know what I mean?
That'd be rough.
Because I mean, certain teams are they're not gonna take a quarterback just because of who they have. But then I mean,
Right.
like there's certain teams like.
Well, to me,
like Atlanta could still say, "Fuck it, let's take a quarterback. Why not?"
Ooh,
You know what I mean?
That's rough. I'm sticking with Penix for now.
No, I know, but I mean, it doesn't hurt because you don't know what you have.
Right,
in Penix.
you never, and you can
or
always
even
use them
someone
as
like
trade bait.
like the Vikings too. Like, why not pick up another young
Hey,
quarterback?
they got MVP.
we're not doing that.
JJ
I'm gonna
McCarthy.
fucking mute you right now. But I mean, a lot of teams will take flyers on quarterbacks just to say, like, let's see what we have here, and we'll go from there. But trying to like, okay, the way that Alabama plays, Jalen Milroe's style was like, yes, I'm a quarterback, but I'm also a rushing quarterback. So he would have to go to a team that values a quarterback that can run,
Right.
which you look at Arizona, you look at Baltimore, you look at teams that have that
Actually,
skill
I
set.
could see Arizona picking up somebody like Milroe, like to back up Kyler just in
Yeah,
case
yeah.
he gets hurt again.
So I mean, it's hard to pinpoint an exact team, but I mean, just based on style of play, you can say maybe these guys
Right.
would probably fit better with these types of teams, and they wouldn't fit more so with like a.
Well, see, the team that has tried the mobile quarterback the last 2 years but hasn't worked out is Pittsburgh. I think their style and Mike Tomlin is just they need a pocket passer, and I think Jackson Dart fits that profile. They already have a solid defense in Pittsburgh. They already have George Pickens, who may or may not be their wide receiver one of the future. We're still kind of unsure on him. He hasn't put up an insane season to call him a wide receiver one, but technically on paper, he is their wide receiver one. They could still go running back. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback and a running back. That's what they need. They're solid on tight end with Pat Freiermuth. He's nothing spectacular in the league, but he will suffice as a solid tight end one. I think they just need somebody like maybe Jackson Dart, and maybe they can start him from day one. Maybe they sit him behind Aaron Rodgers for a year. I think somebody like Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe both would benefit from sitting for a year and going starting.
Well, these
year
guys
two.
are not going to play right away. Besides Cam Ward, I don't know if any of these guys play right away. Well, Sanders will because of his name.
Actually, I don't even know if Sanders would be a day one starter.
He probably maybe
It just
depending
depends
on
on
who
the
he
team.
takes.
Right. So like
who
if he
takes
goes
him, but
if he goes to the Giants, he's sitting a year behind
yeah,
Russell
probably,
Wilson,
yeah,
or
for
at
sure.
least half the season.
right. But I mean, like Jackson Dart and Milroe are not going to start.
But like I think if Shador goes to Cleveland, he's a day one starter.
He could be. I mean,
if he goes to Cleveland, he's a day one starter. If he goes to the Giants, he's sitting. If he goes to the Saints and Carr is okay, he's sitting. But if he goes to the Saints and Carr is hurt, he's starting. So it's like he could be sitting half the season, even 4 weeks, 6 weeks, the whole year, start next year. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
All these teams, it just depends on who they sign in the offseason. It depends on injuries, et cetera, et cetera. So let's move on to running backs. We got Ashton Genty, the consensus RB1 in this draft. I think everybody is very excited for him to come into the league, no matter who you are. I mean, if you've heard his name, you're excited about him. Simple as that. You're very excited. You hope he's going to play out, or you hope he's going to pan out. You hope he's not going to be a bust, because what he did in college was record breaking. It's not just like, oh, he had a good season. No, he had a phenomenal, historic season. I think he put up 2,600 yards on the ground and probably more through the air. So he probably almost had 3,000 all-purpose yards. To top that off, he had double-digit touchdowns, and he was just phenomenal this past season with Boise State. He was their offense. He was the reason they were even in the playoffs. He is projected to go top 10. The front runner for him is actually the Las Vegas Raiders. So, I mean, I don't like the Raiders, but I think that's actually a pretty solid fit. They have a semi-young line. They just got Brock Bowers last year in the draft, and he turned out to be really great last season. They did get Geno Smith from the Seahawks. They got Pete Carroll. That team is starting to come along. I mean, everybody's starting to pitch in little by little. Brady's starting to have more of a say in that team. And I think they could be a really exciting team on paper with Ashton Genty next year.
yeah, I mean, he's probably the best player in the draft. That's going to make an impact right away. Because
do you think the reason Ashton Genty isn't going 1 of 1 is because of who is ahead, like who's picking? Like, well, if the Titans had like a semi-decent quarterback, do you think they go Ashton Genty?
I don't think he goes number 1. I don't think teams are.
You don't think there's a world where he goes 1?
No,
like if the Raiders had pick 1, do you think the Raiders go Ashton
Probably
Genty?
not, because there's probably another hole they could fill.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. I mean, some teams don't value running backs like that. And I mean, some of them will say, no, I'm better off with using a 2-back system and having these 2 guys that I can count on, because he's gonna demand the workload of like a Zaquan. That in order for him to be effective, you're gonna have to feed him, right? So that's why some teams are like, we're good on that. We don't want to, have that situation. But then some teams like the Raiders, you need all the skill position help you can get. So it makes sense for them to take somebody like Genty. But the reason this guy is going to be good is because anytime you play for a team like Boise State and you literally are the focal point of the offense, and teams and defenses will literally scheme the whole game.
Yeah, they put 8 guys in the box to
trying to stop you, and then your line on Prize Picks every game rushing is like 100 and like 170 yards, like rushing in college. And it's like over under that. Well, fuck, if like that's crazy. Like if that's like just the amount of workload that he was getting. And like I said, even with all these defenses keying in on him, he was still able to produce. So it's hard to, like sometimes these guys don't work out. Maybe, we don't know if he goes to a team where they don't use him the right way, or they try to use him more as like a pass catching back, or injuries happen. But on paper, this guy should be like out the gate, like a top 10 running back in the league for sure.
Yeah. In fantasy, do you think he is let's go top 12 running back at the end of the season? Do you think he's a top 12 running back? He's like a number 1 running back.
Depending on who picks him up, that's going to dictate everything.
If the Raiders pick him up, is he a top 12 running back?
Yeah, for sure.
If the Browns jump out as a surprise and pick him up?
Yes, because the Browns like their running backs.
What about the Giants? What if they surprise and pick up a running back?
I just don't think the Giants are that good.
Okay. And what about the Jets? What if the Jets jump out in front? Same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Because if he goes to the NFL and he's the focal point, then he's going to get shut down. He's going to have to go to a team where they have other options, where it's like, hey, yeah, they have Genty in the backfield, but say, watch out for these guys on the outside, But if he goes to another team that just has 0 skill position players, and the teams and the defenses know just to scheme for that. The defenses in the NFL are on another level, and they will figure out how to shut this guy down if they have to.
You know, I feel like Shedeur Sanders and Ashton Genty are so like high in the sport right now that I think whatever team drafts these guys, they're gonna have more primetime games. Like
I don't know about
I personally
that. No,
think like
I don't
you're
think
gonna
so.
see the Raiders more on Monday Night Football. You're gonna see the
only reason I say
Giants
no
more
to
on
that is
Thursday Night
because
Football.
he didn't go to like Texas or he didn't go to USC or
See, that's the thing that I think
And he
that's
didn't
why
play-
he would get more publicity.
no.
Is
no,
because
that's
he carried a team like Boise
right.
State
But
all the
some
way to
people
the
don't even know Boise State's a college. Like it's Boise State.
Okay,
you know
but
what I
if
mean?
you know football, you know Boise State.
No, not necessarily. Like, dude,
I feel like they're so iconic because of their blue field. Like,
right,
I
but
think
not
that's
everybody
why
knows
people
that.
know them
Like,
a lot.
I guarantee you, if you ask people, like, if you fucking name, you can make up like 5 different college names, right? And
Right.
Boise State's the only real one. Some people would choose the other made up colleges and be like, that sounds like a real school over Boise
like
State.
what the hell is Boise State?
Yeah, like what's Boise? Like, people don't even know Boise's in Idaho. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I didn't know Boise was. In
people
Idaho
are,
either.
yeah, that's the fucking capital, bro. Like, what the hell? But yeah, all I'm saying is that if he had, there's a few things. If he had gone to a bigger school, number one, and then number two, if they had made a run in the playoff, then that would have changed things. But since they didn't, and he went to Boise State, that doesn't. The NFL's not going to flex your scheduling just based on that.
I think so. I think that's just a personal. I think like if Shedeur
Dude,
Sanders,
it's unproven though. Like, what do you mean? You're gonna flex everybody's schedule for incoming rookies? Like, no,
Why
dude.
not?
No, because they're not.
somebody
this-
like Shedeur Sanders, you're telling me that he's not like his father, where he's like, look at me, look at me, look at me.
right, but we don't even know if he's gonna play.
Okay, but
That's
if he
the
is,
thing.
if he
Genty
is,
will play, right? But
Right.
I mean, you're gonna put the Jets on Monday night every fucking 4 weeks? Like, it's the Jets. They suck.
Yeah.
I don't think these
Well,
guys
that's what
are.
they did with Aaron Rodgers. They were like, "Oh, let's put the Jets on
Well,
16."
it's Aaron
freaking-
Rodgers, dude. It's Aaron Rodgers. That's a difference.
He was bummed.
That's a Super Bowl quarterback. Regardless, if you don't like him or not, I mean, I hate Aaron Rodgers. Let the record show. But these guys are not needle movers like that.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Next running back we got Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina. Shout out Omarion Hampton. He is actually my favorite player that we have talked about so far. I mean, outside of Genty, everybody's going to like Genty coming in. If you know who's coming into the draft, you like Genty. That's simple as that. I haven't heard anyone say, I do not like Ashton Genty. Don't say I don't like Ashton Genty because I know how you are.
No, dude. I mean, anybody that runs for that many yards is just ridiculous.
You're right. It's ridiculous. So Omarion Hampton, outside of Ashton Genty, is my favorite prospect coming out of the draft this year. He's projected to go round 2 on paper, but I truly believe that this guy is somebody that a team in the first round can absolutely jump out and grab. I've seen mock drafts where the Bears take him as early as 10 if Genty is off the board. I've seen a team like the Cowboys take him at 12 if Genty is off the board. Like, I have seen this guy go as high as 10 and as low as like 39. So he can go absolutely anywhere. I think this is a wild card pick. I don't think he's a wild card player. I think Omarion Hampton has the ability to be a bell cow in the NFL, similar to Genty. Obviously, Genty is the number 1 running back in this draft class, but Omarion Hampton is a very close 2 for me. I think if Ashton Genty was not in this draft, Omarion Hampton is easily consensus number 1. It's as simple as that. My pro comparison for him would be Joe Mixon. He has a very similar run style. He's a very great pass catcher the way Joe Mixon is. He runs very upright too, and he kind of runs like, I was watching him on tape, and he kind of does a little bit of everything. Obviously, he pass catches, he runs through the tackles, he runs outside of the tackles. He doesn't have breakaway speed, but he has breakaway acceleration. So if he can get going faster than the defender, obviously he's going to beat him. And you might be saying like, well, no, duh. If you get a head start on him, obviously you're going to catch him. But we've seen players like DK Metcalf hawk down a corner, and I know it's a corner, but like you see that speed, and it's like acceleration doesn't always mean great speed. So I think he has enormous acceleration, but he doesn't have enormous speed. I mean, he's definitely faster than I am, that's for damn sure. But I think his acceleration beats his speed, and I think that definitely shows in his tape.
So it looks like some of the teams that are showing interest are the Broncos, the Steelers, the Cowboys.
Yeah, because I mean, like any one of those teams would be absolutely happy to have somebody like Omarion Hampton. Like all those guys.
Well, all those teams don't have a running back,
right? I mean,
so,
like
yeah.
The Broncos just got rid of what's his name, and he went to Dallas. I'm blanking
Javonte
on-
Williams.
Javonte Williams, and I mean Javonte Williams is okay, but like he hasn't panned out in the league so far. So if you draft Omarion Hampton, I am absolutely starting Omarion Hampton over. What was his name?
Javonte.
Javonte. Sorry, I forgot his name.
I don't know if that happens actually.
Oh, absolutely. If I'm the Cowboys and if I draft Omarion Hampton at 12, I am absolutely giving him the number 1 role. Like there's no two ways around it. I don't see Javonte starting over Omarion Hampton. Same thing in Pittsburgh. I don't see Jalen Warren starting over Omarion Hampton. And same thing in Denver. I don't even know who their RB1 is now.
But still, I mean, the teams are the ones that are going to dictate that. I mean, yeah, he can be like a very sure-handed running back, you know, good at catching the ball out of the backfield, good at running downhill, breaking tackles, right? But a team like the Cowboys, they like to utilize their running backs to pick up the blitzers, right? And so if he can't pass block at all, that's going to be a very big issue. And a lot of those scenes are not really graded until you get to the NFL. And then they can see, hey, can you help read a defense and pick up this safety that's going to come on this corner blitz? Those things, those little details, as minute as they are, will separate a guy like Omarion, who's a rookie, compared to someone like Javonte Williams that's been in the league and can recognize those little nuances in the defense. So it's not always a plug and play.
He's actually been very consistent over the last 2 years starting at North Carolina. He actually had Drake May last year. So, I mean, he had great QB play last year. He didn't have great QB play this year, but he stayed very consistent in his stats. Last year, 2023, he got 253 carries for 1,500 yards. So it was an average of 5.9 a carry with 15 touchdowns on the ground, plus 1 in the air and 222 yards through the air. This next year, 281 carries, 1,600 yards. So the yards and the carries both went up, but they stayed the same. The average was 5.9, but also 15 touchdowns, which is a repeat, which is great. A little more passing work, 38 receptions for 373 yards, and 2 more touchdowns through the air. So to go from a quarterback like Drake May to, I don't even know who their quarterback was this year, I think that's great to keep on paper a consistent 1,500 plus rushing yards and 15 touchdowns. I think that's a great running back play. I think it will absolutely translate to the league no matter which team he goes to. I'm not saying the 15 touchdowns and the 1,500 yards will translate, but you will see that bell cow production translate to the NFL.
If he can stay on the field, like I said.
He will.
Like I said.
He will.
A lot of these guys look good like this coming out, dude. But I mean,
he's gonna be good.
It's a different fucking
draft Omarion Hampton in your rookie drafts.
Oh, in a rookie draft, yeah. I don't know if depending on where he goes, he
right,
might
like if it's
might be a flyer late in the draft for fantasy wise.
I think he goes like in leagues now. I think he goes like round in a redraft. He'll probably go like round 9.
In a redraft, yeah, but in a standard draft,
well, like in a dynasty, he's going round 1, absolutely. Like he's going round. I
don't know about that.
In a dynasty, yes, absolutely.
That's a little high.
I mean, like, okay,
you don't even know if he's going to be on a roster next year.
He will be on a roster. He's going to get drafted, dude. He's the number 2 running back in this class.
No, I know he's going to get drafted, but that doesn't mean anything.
How many players
get drafted every year?
262.
And how many rookies actually play?
A lot.
Not that many.
A lot, actually. Like probably, at least 80.
Yeah, which is not a lot. That's less than half.
It's still a lot.
That's like 30%.
That's like 40%.
Okay, yeah, dude. That means you have a 40%. Even if you're drafted, you have a 40% chance of playing.
Unless he gets hurt. God forbid, knock on wood. I never wish injuries.
Like I said,
guys.
It's not all about that. A lot of it too is how all the little things, like I said.
What I'm saying is I am excited for Omarion Hampton. He will play this year. Whether he's a starter or not, he will play.
Yeah, of course he's going to play. But I'm like,
And if he is a starter,
he cannot
even
have
better.
the production that he had in college
Because, like, okay,
because
I'm
we
not gonna
don't know
be-
what his role is going to be in
I'm
the
not
NFL.
going to be excited if for some reason I wouldn't say that these teams draft him, but if for some reason a team like the Saints draft him at pick 9, I don't think he goes that high. But if he does, for some reason, they pick him, I'm not excited about him because he sits behind Alvin Kamara, and Alvin Kamara is the bell cow there. If he sits behind Christian McCaffrey for the 49ers, if he sits behind Jonathan Taylor on the Colts, for some reason, if one of those teams were to draft him, I would not be excited. But if he were to go to a team like the Cardinals, you know, you have James Conner. He's getting older. Maybe they don't want him around anymore. Or the Bengals, who they did have great play out of, blanking on his name.
The small little white running back.
Yeah, I think his
Brown.
Chase Brown. There you go. If he goes there, I
Chase
can
Brown
absolutely
could
see
be
him.
a country singer's name, by the way.
Isn't that like an actual country singer?
Chase Rice,
Chase?
Kane Brown.
Kane Brown is one. I hate Kane Brown.
If they smashed, there you go. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, it's easy for us to say that he's going to have all this production. The number one thing is we do not know where he's going to land.
Right.
And until until we know that, then it's like tailor your expectations.
I
for
would
now.
not be excited if he were to go to maybe like 10 teams. But the other 22, I think he can be a starter on. Like there's probably like 10 to 12 teams where I would be like, are you kidding me? Like, why did you draft this guy? And I would be bummed.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3 running back we got on here is Cam Skattebo out of Arizona State, the Sun Devils. He's a great runner. He's a hard-nosed runner. He's great from the pass-catching work. His pass-catching work reminds me of Christian McCaffrey, the way he can hit those little hitch routes, the little Texas routes, the little screen routes. All those routes for him are great. I think he has a great route tree for a running back. He's very productive with when he does catch the ball. His running is also great. He's not the fastest guy out on the field, but he is absolutely the hardest hitting guy on the field. You watch him play, and he will run over you if you give him the chance. He's just very down, like he's stocky. His stature, he's a big dude. Like you look at him and he's stocky. So I would be scared to go one-on-one with him in an Oklahoma drill. But he's PFF ranked 51. His average draft pick is 52, which is mid-second round. I think he could fall a little bit, but I don't think he falls to the 3rd round. I think he does go 2nd round for sure. Don't think he jumps up to the 1st round. If he does jump up to the 1st round, that would be absolutely wild. But I think he's perfectly graded at 51, 52. So that's a pretty solid rank for him. This running back class is very heavy. I mean, we haven't even talked about the other guys, Dylan Sampson, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. Like all those guys are still to talk about, but we're not going to talk about those guys today. But just watch out for this running back draft class.
It's all the same teams, though, that are involved with this guy. So the Broncos are there, the Chiefs are there, the Giants are there, the Cowboys are there. I saw some.
Well, because those teams
right
are
now.
what need a running back.
Yeah. So, I mean, same thing for him. He's a little on the smaller side, but in the NFL, the smaller running backs can get away with not being so big just because they're so agile, and they'll be better route runners and stuff coming out of the backfield. But he is on the smaller side. But yeah, it's the same players that are in contention for him. I don't think he goes. He'll probably be like a late 2nd, early 3rd.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if like him for sure. You probably wouldn't be able to draft him in fantasy this year because you just don't know what his usage is going to be.
I think this running back class is very dependent on where these guys go. Outside
that's
of
almost like every player is dependent on that.
I mean, okay, so like Ashton Genty, you're telling me no matter where he goes, you're not drafting him?
No, yes, but I mean, he's like the only one. You know what I mean?
There's maybe like 4 guys on this list that I would draft like out the gate.
Skill players.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously.
But I don't know.
Like, okay, so like if you're in like a dynasty league and you don't have a QB1, you can look out for like Cam Ward. Like hypothetically, worst case scenario, you're in a deep league, you're in a super flex league, you don't have a quarterback. I think you can look towards like Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders if Shedeur starts. Cam Ward will start. But I think it's the same thing for like the running back and wide receivers. Like the top guys are like you will be comfortable with them. Everybody else behind them, you're like, okay. And then everybody else behind that, you're like, okay, like let's hold up on that, you know?
Yeah.
Let's get into the wide receivers. That rounds out our running backs. Number one wide receiver in this draft class is Tet McMillan. Teteroya McMillan is his full first name, but he probably got like a middle name too. You know, he's got like 16 different names the way those guys go. But Teteroya McMillan is the number one consensus wide receiver out of this draft class, out of U of A. I've seen him go as high as pick 7 to the Jets, and I've also seen him drop back all the way to like 26 to the Rams. I don't see the Rams drafting this guy.
That's a big difference right there.
Yeah, no, it is a big difference going from 7 to 26. So I think it just depends on needs. I think if he is still there at pick 20, pick 21, pick 22, pick 23, I think that was pretty nice. I think the Broncos could use him. I think the Steelers could use him. I think the Chargers could use him. I think the Packers could use him. So all those guys in between 20 and 23, they would be really excited if he was still on the board. But I don't think he falls that far. I'm looking at the other teams in front, and I'm like, the only other team that could use him, Panthers, Jets. I mean, any team could use this guy. But like in terms of needs, I think Panthers, Jets would be 1-2 on this list. I've seen a lot of mock drafts where he goes to the Panthers the most.
Shit, I wouldn't mind if Dallas scooped him up. That'd be nice.
That would be real nice.
I mean, because like Dallas, like they showed last year. I mean, they could do it with Rico Dowdle and company.
Well, Rico Dowdle's gone.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is that they don't need a household running back, right? Household name. They can use a committee, and then they can add the skills position to complement somebody like CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, they got Javonte and Miles Sanders in the backfield.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, if the Cowboys, if all the running back options are gone, or if they don't want to be reaching, this is another player that they could draft, that they could utilize right away, because they do need help at the wide receiver position. So
wide receivers are a little bit different than running backs, because running backs, you usually don't have a committee. Like your RB2 is like super relevant. I mean, it does happen like with teams, with the Steelers, sometimes the Lions are very heavy on using a committee with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So not every team is like that. But for wide receivers, you can absolutely have a relevant wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Some teams even have a relevant wide receiver 3. It's not very common, but it does happen. Sometimes teams don't like to use the tight end, so they use 3 wideouts or 3 wide receivers.
Or they prefer the tight end to be more of a traditional blocker.
Right, exactly. So sometimes the tight end will be 1 and the wide receiver will be 2. You know,
there was actually a wide receiver from UTEP, Joshua Cowing. He was the lead.
Name sounds familiar.
He was the leading wide receiver for UTEP 2 years ago. He transferred to U of A actually, so he shared the wide receiver room with this McMillan guy. Really? Just a small little tad right there, showing love to UTEP.
What was his last name?
Cowing.
Cowing, like moo, like cowing.
Yeah, Cowing. I think it was Joshua.
Jacob?
It could be Jacob. Jacob Cowing.
Oh wait, this guy's on the 49ers.
No. He's a wide receiver.
It says college Arizona, and he got picked last year.
Yeah, so that's in Jacob Cowing.
Cowing. Mm-hmm. Wow, shout out Jacob Cowing.
Yeah, so he was there for at least 2 years with U of A. But yeah, I thought he had more potential than he showed, but I mean,
Are you sure he played for UTEP? Because this says that his birthplace was Arizona.
No, he played for UTEP, dude. I guarantee you. Like, I remember that. I tried to get him on the fucking podcast.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he was like, yeah, look, Jacob Cowing, 2001 football roster, UTEP Miners.
This is actually a perfect time to shout out Chris's podcast. I'm also on that podcast. It will be down in the description. It is Conversing with Chris, the podcast. It's very different from this podcast. This is a sports-only podcast. We throw a little bit of jokes in there, but this one is all fun and games. There's really no sports talk, no politics talk, so there's nothing controversial on that. There actually was something controversial. We were talking about our top 5 cereals. But go check that out. I was in that last video. There is video on that podcast. It's not just audio, so that one is a solidified podcast. But make sure to go check it out. Show Chris some love to his channel. Subscribe, follow him on all platforms, same way as mine. It's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, etc.
But yeah, Jacob Cowing, sophomore year at UTEP, 5'11", 170 from Maricopa, Arizona.
5'11" as a tight end?
No, wide receiver.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No,
okay.
this guy was legit for UTEP, bro. And if you're legit at UTEP, that's saying something.
That's true. Well, he's on the 49ers right now. Number 19 wide receiver. He was drafted last year, round 4, pick 135. So if they end up getting rid of Brandon Ayuk, maybe he'll see the field a little bit this year.
I mean, that'd be nice because, like I said, he was solid. And then, I mean, obviously he was good enough that he was able to garner interest from the U of A to go back and play ball there.
Yeah, I mean, he got 4 receptions on 6 targets for 80 yards last year.
Yeah, I mean, he's somebody that I thought would have been better, like I said, but it's hard for UTEP to hang on to those players. Guys. Well, not produce them, but to recruit them and then hang on to them. You know what I mean? Because once they have a good year here, they're pretty much out.
They're like, I'm going to a bigger school.
Yeah. I mean, they just are looking at their NFL prospect, and so
right, which is fair. I mean, like
right. So it behooves them to go ahead and move on to a bigger
It's just a
school.
shame because, like, I mean, UTEP isn't a small school. I mean, compared to like Alabama and LSU, it is a small school. But I mean, it's a D1 school. It's
D1. I mean, the enrollment at UTEP is very high, but it's
very high.
It's a commuter school, number one. So a lot of people do not live on campus, and then number two,
right.
Athletics is always taking like a back seat to the education at UTEP. I mean, they value certain things more.
Yeah, they have like
than
a big
athletics.
nursing and engineering program, but that's outside of the.
I mean, UTEP, what they focus on is graduating Hispanics and first time. People that are in their family that it's their first. They're the first ones to get a college degree.
Yeah, I know.
UTEP is super big on that and super big at graduating Hispanics because they lead the nation in that. But yeah, so like when you focus on things like that, obviously like your athletic department's not going to be the best. UTEP actually discontinued the men's or the women's tennis program.
Really?
So that leaves them now down to 16 sports at the university.
They've never had a baseball team. They should invest in a baseball team.
Well, I mean, you would think they'd have a soccer team, like, you know what I mean, a men's soccer
women's.
team. Yeah, but a men's soccer team here would do work.
It really would.
But anyways, UTEP is doing that all in preparation of them going into their new conference next year.
Which one it was.
They are going back to the Mountain West.
That's the one where Boise State's at.
No, Well, they're actually
they're in Mountain State.
No, but they're moving too. Boise State's getting
Boise
bumped
State's
up.
moving too?
Uh-huh.
Oh, shit. Wow.
Yeah, the Pac-12 is expanding because the whole realignment, the Pac-12 lost all their teams except for Washington and Washington State. And now they expanded out. So they picked up like BYU, they picked up Boise State, they picked up all those prevalent schools in that area.
Idea.
And now the Mountain West has to fill. So they're filling with teams like UTEP and other schools like that.
Wow, fun facts about college with Chris. Mm-hmm. All right, Tet McMillan, he's a big dude. I think he's like 6'5" or 6'6", so he is being comped to Mike Evans, but I think that's only because of his size, not because of his actual playing style. I think people are jumping the gun on that. Mike Evans is a fantastic wide receiver in the NFL. He has been for the last, 10 or 11 years that he's been there now, so... Mike Evans isn't always your number one receiver in the league, but he's always a wide receiver 1 in the league. So let's move on to wide receiver 2 on this list, Luther Burden III out of Mizzou. I'm actually kind of excited for this guy too. I'm not like super big on him the way I am with Tet McMillan, but he is a pretty solid wide receiver. He kind of took a step back in production, I believe, this past year from 2023. He was more exciting in 2023, and then he took a little bit of a step back, but he was still very relevant at Mizzou. His ceiling in this class, this class is not very wide receiver heavy the way last class was. He would probably be ranked like wide receiver 7 in last year's class, but he is still very solid. I see him kind of like Jamar, where he is good with catching a screen and taking it to the house. I'm not saying he's as good as Jamar. I'm not making that claim, but I think he is very good with catching those screens and kind of taking them to the house because he's very shifty when it comes to open space. So he is really great on that. He doesn't have the biggest stature, but his catch radius is very great for, I think he's only like 6 foot tall.
Yeah, Luther Burden really going to put the burden on the defense to really slow him down there.
Buddy.
You see what I did there?
You got to put a little laughing.
Yes, sir. Should we? No, that didn't do it. That was.
It was already too late.
That was a gimme.
You missed your.
I honestly don't know too much about this guy. I haven't really seen much of him. But I mean, if you're comparing him to someone like Jamar, I mean, obviously, he's going to have good footwork. He's going to be fast. He's going to have sure hands. And wide receivers like that usually tend to pan out. But a lot of, like we've said before, a lot of this is going to depend on who drafts him, who he's sitting behind on the depth chart and things like that. Because like someone like Jackson Smith in Jigba, with all the talent in the world, was still only at best the number 3 in Seattle for a long time. So now that the wide receiver room is cleared out a little bit, you should see him start to step up into a higher role, which is probably going to be a similar situation for a lot of these wide receivers. First year, maybe lower on the depth chart, and then eventually they'll start to progress as their career does.
Well, talking about Jackson Smith and Jigba, we actually got one of his former teammates out of Ohio State, who's ranked the 3rd wide receiver, Emeka Egbuka. I hope I'm saying his name right. I mean, I'm just saying it the way it's spelled.
Pronounce it phonetically.
I think it's Emeka Egbuka.
Egbuka.
I hear a lot of like announcers, and they like struggle because they're all white, and they're like Egbuka. I'm like, bro, what? Like it's just
because they
you're
have no
supposed
feel,
to let it
dude.
flow.
They have no feel.
Yeah, they don't.
No
like
heart.
Egbuka. I'm like, it's a Emeka Egbuka. Like, how hard is that to say? But I hope I'm saying it right. If I'm not, sorry. But
sorry,
Emeka. Yeah, it's not like he's gonna listen to this. Unless he does. Yeah, I mean, shout out Emeka Egbuka.
Throw him in the thumbnail.
Honestly, I don't want to disrespect him. I mean, he is still the 3rd best wide receiver, 3rd ranked wide receiver in this class. So that really does mean something. But to me, the way I watched a little bit of tape on him. It's not like I was watching him like a hawk last year, but I saw a little bit of tape on him, and I honestly think he's a little overrated in this draft. I don't know if that's crazy to say.
He's small too, 6'1".
Yeah, I mean, like Ohio State wide receivers have been great the last like 4 years coming from the draft. So, I mean, maybe he does pan out. Maybe he's as good as JSN or Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson. All those guys were on one team at one point.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, all those guys were fantastic. So maybe this guy does pan out in the league, and maybe I'm just being a hater. But the way I saw him last year, he wasn't anything spectacular compared to the 2 guys in front of him. And even the guy behind him I got right now. But I think he does have a low ceiling, high floor kind of deal where if he does pan out in his rookie year, he's not going to be anything exciting. So last year we had BTJ and we had Malik. They had their fantastic 1,400-yard seasons apiece. And then Marvin Harrison, who was actually the first wide receiver taken off the board, he only had, I think, a little under 1,000. I think he was at like 800 receiving yards. But he still had a great season, but he was not as spectacular as the 2 guys in front of him, which is Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors. So I think this is going to be a very similar case where if they go in that order, which is Tet, Luther Burden, and Emeka Egbuka, I think Emeka Egbuka is definitely the 3rd out of these guys. Like, there's no like, oh, he could be 2, he could be 1, or like these guys are interchangeable. I think he is the 3rd. I think he's okay with his ranking. But yeah, it's nothing flashy from this guy. I think this guy's a very safe bet when it comes to the wide receiver position. His route tree could be a lot better. He's more of just like a over the middle kind of guy. He's like when they were making jokes about what's his name from New Orleans, Michael Thomas, where he was called Slant Boy. So
well, he has the frame for that, though.
I mean, yeah, but I think this guy kind of does too. Where
this guy's 6'1". There's no way.
Michael Thomas was what, like 6'2"?
No, he was like 6'3", dude. He was bigger.
I mean,
than
that's
that.
okay. That's what, a 2-inch difference,
dude. That makes a big difference in the NFL, dude. What do you mean?
Not just in the.
I mean,
NFL.
this guy, he's got the size to be like a slot. I mean, Jesus Christ, what kind of joke was that? He's got the potential to be a good slot wide receiver because, yeah, like I said, 6'1", little concerning on the size because you'll have DBs that are taller than him. Yeah. But if he has the speed, then yeah, he will flourish in the slot. Wide receiver U part 2 should be Ohio State.
LSU and
LSU number 1, and then OSU number 2. Another wide receiver on here that I didn't see that I was surprised was actually the Tez Johnson from Oregon.
He's not on here because his 40 time was slow.
Well, no, I think I thought I saw somewhere that he refused to run the 40 time at the Oregon Pro Day.
He did run it. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
But yeah, Tez Johnson was another one just to mention it. I was just thinking of other wide receivers out there. playing with Dylan Gabriel there for the Ducks.
Yeah, he ran a 4.5 at the 40.
No, dude.
Dude, okay,
I know, but that's
4.5 is
fast.
still insane
God
speed.
damn.
But when you're going up against these guys,
I love how we argue like, oh, it's not a 4.2. Like, shut the fuck up. Dude.
I know, like 4.5 is still
Humbly
10 times faster than what we are.
Yeah, dude.
You know,
Jesus
we're
Christ.
fucking sitting on our asses over here, and we're all, oh, this guy's slow.
You know what I could do at 4.5?
Fucking blink.
I could fucking take down this guy. Just kidding. That would take me a little longer.
Yeah, I mean, 4.5 is still insanely fast. Don't get that twisted. Plus, 40 speed and game speed also don't translate all the time. Sometimes guys with a really, really fast 40 speed don't translate
sometimes
that speed
the
to
best
the game.
position for those guys is just to be the punt returner or the kick returner.
Yeah, I mean, like
You know
you have
what I mean?
Kavonte
Because-
Turpin, who's like really fast in games, but he's not like a wide receiver one with his
No,
speed.
he's
you know?
also very small, and then like just because he can run that fast
Well, I
doesn't
think Tez
mean
Johnson is also small too, isn't he? Or is he?
he's a little bit bigger. He's nowhere near
No, he's
fucking
5'10".
Turpin's size.
Yeah, he's 5'10". Turpin's what, 5'8"?
He's like 5'7".
Oh, well, same
But anyways,
thing. I mean,
I think those guys you'll see speed translate in different ways in the NFL because just because you run the best 40 time doesn't mean you're the best route runner, and maybe you can't even catch the ball. So there's that.
well, I got honorable mentions on here.
Like
Tez
who was
Johnson, shout out.
who was the wide receiver for the Chiefs back in the day? Hall. Last name Hall.
Dante
Hall, who was just a
human joystick.
Yeah, the prolific kick returner, punt returner. But it's like if you asked him to run a fucking Z route in the slot, the guy wouldn't know what the fuck he was doing. But yeah, so there's always that.
Sometimes no, what the? That's not Isaiah McKinney. That's not. I looked up the human joystick and it brings up Isaiah McKinney.
No, that's
McKenzie.
probably a different type of joystick. You feel me?
Yeah. What? Dante Hall. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
Dante Hall.
Dante
I remember that fool.
Yeah. So honorable mentions: Tez Johnson, I guess, is one of them. Trey Harris out of Ole Miss.
That's the guy that you were talking about.
I really
earlier.
like this guy. I'm actually kind of high on this guy. I don't think he is the number one or the number two, but I think he can pan out to be a wide receiver one in the league.
I think Travis Hunter has a better upside than him.
You think so? Oh, I mean, Travis Hunter, he's a two-way player.
No, but that's the thing. That's not going to fly in the NFL.
So then, okay, do you think he plays two-way in the NFL? No matter, like, okay,
No way.
If the Giants draft him, do they use him as a corner or a wide receiver?
I think that's up to the coaching staff. But
Do
there's
you
no way
think-
you allow him to play both.
Okay, so let's say
You're just asking him to get hurt.
So let's say he doesn't play both. What would you prefer he play? Wide receiver or corner?
I mean,
You personally, like, I'm not asking, like, what do you think he will play? What's your personal?
I would say probably wide receiver, honestly.
You think he plays wide receiver?
Yeah.
Okay,
But
that's valid.
but then at the same time, as a corner that he has wide receiver skills, so then he would be probably one of the corners that can actually catch the ball when it's thrown to them.
Well, he is listed as a corner in the draft. So whoever drafts him is technically drafting a corner. Technically.
Well,
Because on paper he's a corner in the draft.
yeah, but if he plays as a wide receiver, then he's going to get the stats of a wide receiver.
Right, obviously. But what I'm saying
That's
is, like,
that's a good one for fantasy right there.
that is a good one. Because, like,
Do you draft this fool?
see, that's why I wouldn't.
Because
hold,
if he plays corner, then he gets no individual stats, and then there's nowhere for you to put him on your team.
so then if you're in a dynasty league, are you drafting him? I mean, do you draft him?
You can,
Like, at all?
because if he turns out to be like one of the better wide receivers,
But
then
it's
you
like,
got to
let's
steal.
say you have the, let's go with the third pick in the a dynasty draft, and you're
Third pick? No,
third pick,
not that high.
Well,
No
because
way.
like, okay, Genty's going to be one of one. He's going to be one of one, and then I guess you could make the case to say either Tyler Warren or Tet McMillan in front of him, or maybe even Omarion Hampton. But like, wide receivers are very valuable to the game. You
I mean,
know
people
that.
will just draft him based on his name.
So
also.
does he go in the top 4 picks in fan? I mean, he's gonna go top 10 in a fantasy dynasty draft. Dynasty. Yes, he's gonna go top 10.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
does he go top 3, top 4?
No.
Like, okay, let's say you hold the 5th pick. Are you drafting him?
No, I think you could find somebody else. I just think that there's that cloud of mystery that
Yeah,
if you waste that pick and he ends up playing corner, then you screwed yourself.
right. I mean, I would be excited if he was wide receiver, but I would be
Now,
very
I have
scared.
seen leagues where you can start cornerbacks.
Well, that's when
you
you
know
have
what I mean?
defense on your.
No. There's I've seen a league where you start a defense and you actually start a secondary player. Like, it's weird. That league is probably not even together anymore because that was weird. But I thought that was interesting. So
that is pretty interesting. I've never
if
seen
you
that.
have a spot for a corner, then yeah, this guy could probably fill that void because he can actually catch the ball.
That's fair. All right, let's round it out with the tight ends. We got Tyler Warren, the number 1 rated tight end in this draft.
Penn State tight end you?
Penn State tight end you? Nah,
Just kidding.
not really.
I mean, they're pretty good.
Let me see. He is ranked 10 out of this entire class, and his average draft pick is 11.4 on PFF. So, I mean, he is projected to go very high. I've seen him go to the Saints. I've seen him go to the Jets. Jets is the number 1 place where I've seen him be drafted in a lot of mock drafts, Mel Kipers and stuff like that, all the big names. But I have seen Tyler Warren go to the Jets as a safety blanket for Justin Fields, so he isn't just relying on Garrett Wilson 100% of his snaps. So I think Tyler Warren would absolutely fit very well with the Jets. I think he would also fit very well with...
The Bears are reportedly interested in this
the
guy.
Bears.
The
even
Colts.
even the Colts I have seen take him. I don't think he falls that far, though, as 14. I mean, if I'm the Jets, do you go tackle? Do you go Tyler Warren? Do you go... that's a tough one.
You probably would go tackle there.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay, like if
dude, it's
Armand,
very hard to justify a tight end that high.
If Armand Membu is still on the board for the Jets, I think that's where they realistically might go.
Especially if you don't even know who your quarterback's going to be. You need to give him
Justin
some
Fields
protection.
is their quarterback for the year.
Or like I said, you don't even know who your quarterback is.
Dude, why are you just a Justin Fields hater?
I just don't like him. Him and Trey Lance, trash.
Oh my god,
Dude, the Bears. If the Bears are
Justin
looking at you
Fields-
at a quarterback, the Bears, that's not good.
Dude, how many franchise quarterbacks have the Bears had?
We talked about this. That's
how
exactly
many-
what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Kyle Orton.
So do they even know what they're doing with quarterbacks?
No.
Exactly. So they probably Jay Cutler could have been a Hall of Famer if he wasn't on the Bears.
We're not going to do this again.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
I'm just saying. Justin Fields.
Shout
Good
out Justin
name,
Fields.
good name,
He's
good
gonna
name for a
he's gonna be a
quarterback.
top QB in fantasy if he stays healthy.
Can we move on, please? Can we just move on from that?
Dude, he's gonna be a top QB in
I
fantasy.
asked if we can please move on.
If he stays healthy, Justin Fields will be a top quarterback. All right, so let's talk about Tyler Warren a little bit. Tyler
6'6",
Warren, he's
Penn State.
huge, 6'6", out of Penn State. He's got great size. He's got great athleticism. I did notice on tape that he's a good jump ball guy, so he is over the top. He's going to go over you. He's going to moss you, he's going to head top you, and that's just the way he is. But I've also seen him being used in like wildcat formations out of Penn State. Which is very interesting. I don't know if something like that would translate to the league. I mean, we have seen
They tried that before.
Yeah, we have seen like Travis Kelce do like QB sneaks on, or wildcat sneaks. Technically, he's not the QB, but like he's done goal line sneaks to get into the end zone. So I don't know if you would do that with Tyler Warren. I know running with the tight end from like end arounds have become more common than they used to be. I know Trey McBride does that in Arizona. I know sometimes Kelce did that, but not really. He's more of like a shovel pass kind of guy. And then Brock Bowers did that in Vegas a couple times this year. So we are starting to see the tight end position be a little more versatile. We always have seen the tight end position as versatile because they block, they go out and catch passes.
Pass catches.
Pass catches, but now they're starting to run. So if you have a tight end that used to do that in college with wildcat formations, I think that's very interesting if you want to do that in the NFL. If it does pan out, great. If it doesn't, not to do that anymore because you don't want to waste too many snaps or too many motions using your tight end in wildcat formation. So I have seen him even throw the ball at Penn State. So he's like a Swiss Army knife out there. You can put him at any position and he's gonna flourish. Are you yawning over there?
Yeah, he's got tremendous upside. But I mean, like, if you're running in and rounds, do you really want a 6'6" guy running that? I don't think so.
I mean, if he's 6'6" and he can bulldoze over anyone, I would absolutely
Yeah, but
want
when you're
that.
doing an in and round, you're trying to get to the edge. So that means that you're just utilizing speed. And the point of the in and round is to go in and around the defense, not to go straight through it.
Well, I mean, I have seen it where like there's a pulling guard, and then they motion the guard to the left or to the right, whichever way he's coming
lead
from,
block.
to lead block.
Yeah,
So I mean, if you can do that, why not?
Yeah, but you're still setting the edge. That's the main thing. Like you have to get to the edge.
I mean,
and I don't think.
Like I said,
in the NFL, they're not going to run them like that.
Right,
dude.
but like I said, if you can do that, more power to you. But if not, you know when
Right,
enough
but
is
if
enough.
this guy's 6'6" and has some mobility, then why not just do the in and around with the wide receiver and have him come out and be the lead blocker?
That's also fair.
You know what I mean?
I mean, like I feel like the
you
Jets
got to
could use
utilize
him.
the speed in those jet sweeps and those types of like plays where you're coming out of the backfield and trying to gain momentum. You want people with speed.
Like, how excited would you be for an offense with Justin Fields at quarterback? You have Breece Hall at running back. You have Garrett Wilson as your wide receiver 1, and then you have Tyler Warren as your tight end. I think that's a pretty exciting fantasy offense, if you ask me.
You lost me at Justin Fields.
Oh my god. Okay.
Colston Loveland from Michigan, number 2.
Tight end number 2 out of University of Michigan. You know, I was getting that mixed up, and Chris was hating on me. I was like, is it Michigan State or University of Michigan? Like, I always get it mixed up. Like, same thing with Arizona. I always get it mixed up. Is it U of A or is it ASU? You know, like, I know which one's which after looking at them.
Because you all know ball, dude.
But, all right, buddy, relax.
All I'm saying is, like, you would get punched in the face if you walked up to, like, a guy with a Sparty hat on or a Sparty sweatshirt or something. And you're like, oh, yeah, so you're a Wolverine, huh? U of M, huh? They would
Okay, I wouldn't mix it up like
they
that.
would physically assault
No,
you.
I
And
wouldn't
I would
mix
be
it up.
like, you know what? Get a few in. I'll step in right now.
I'll step in
let
in
him
like
learn
3
his lesson.
minutes.
Yeah, let him learn his lesson.
No. I'm not saying, like, I know, like...
You didn't even know
I
where Bowling Green was.
Who knows where Bowling Green is?
You see, that's one of those schools that, like, you would think is a made-up name. Bowling Green.
Yeah.
But no.
I mean, it does sound pretty made up.
D1.
Yeah, Colston Loveland out of Michigan. He's also
6'5".
very big. Yeah, 6'5". I mean, tight ends are usually minimum 6'3". Like, that's probably the shortest I've ever seen a tight end. Like, in the NFL, 6'2", 6'3". I don't really see tight ends underneath that size. So 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". That's like the sweet spot for a tight end. This guy was a great red zone threat, but in between the 20s, I didn't really see a lot of production out of him. I mean, he was great like on the edges as like a safety blanket at Michigan, but in the end zone is where I really saw him thrive. Inside the 10, inside the 20 is where he really did his dirty work. He was able to get open. He was able to find that soft spot in the defense when the defense would crumble and the play got extended. That's what I would see a lot out of Colston Loveland. But I don't think he even played the entire season. I think he did get hurt at one point. Let me go ahead and look that up real quick.
Michigan had a good year, though. I mean,
They did. Yeah.
They actually took down Ohio State, which is huge for them.
Did they really?
Yeah, that's like if Michigan does that any given season, they have, by their standards, a successful college season because that's what they really pride their, or they really tip their hat on beating Ohio State because that is one of the fiercest rivalries in all sports. Do you know what they call that matchup?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh my god.
It's called the big game.
That's it?
Yeah.
I probably could have told you that. I'm
You
like, it's a
could've-
big game.
Yeah, you could have just been generic about it, but you didn't even want to guess.
Well, because I didn't want to be generic about it.
But dude, don't think so hard. Like, you know what I mean?
I get it right.
Some rivalries have some good names.
I can't find his game split,
The
but he had.
Red River Shootout. Who's that?
Oh, that's Texas Tech and
No, already wrong.
what? Oh,
Red
that's-
River Shootout.
I don't. Isn't
Texas
it the
Tech
Isn't that the
is
Red
nowhere
River
near
rivalry?
a river.
A river?
A river.
The Red River.
Oh my god, I can't believe you have to look this shit up, dude. This is embarrassing right now.
This is kind of embarrassing.
This is absolutely, and we live in the state where this goes
Oh,
down.
it's Texas and OU. I always. My bad.
Texas Tech. Shut the fuck up.
That's my bad.
Texas
But
Tech,
he
though.
had
Shout
56
out.
receptions, 582 yards, 5 touchdowns. So he wasn't anywhere near 100 receptions. I don't know who they were throwing the ball to if they weren't throwing the ball to this guy.
I mean, Michigan is more of your traditional run the ball type of school. That's
I mean, we
just
have
always
seen a
how
lot
they've
of
been.
running backs coming
The
up
Big
this year.
Ten, just in general, is that way.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Obviously, you have some high flying offenses, Ohio State, but like Penn State's the same way. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball.
Yeah, he
You know
played
what I mean?
most of the season. I mean, he played 10 games. How many
So-
games? There's 12 games, right?
I'm sure he's a great blocker on the line. So a lot of teams will try to use him like that, especially for his size
You know, he obviously his size is huge, 6'5", 245. But
and
when
his
you
mobility
see him,
too.
I don't know if it's just the uniform, but he looks slim out there. Like, I don't know if that's just a me thing, but when I was watching tape on this guy, like he looks slim, like compared to a tight end like Travis Kelce, who's like really big framed out there. Like this guy just looks slim. I don't
I
know.
mean, he's only like 21 years old too, so he's still
yeah,
gonna
he's-
grow some more.
Probably got a lot of like muscle on him.
Yeah.
Like that's all he is.
Probably got a big horn.
dude.
I'm just saying he's a Wolverine. They usually do.
Sure. Wolverines have claws. They don't have horns.
And horns.
Wolverines don't have horns.
Everyone has a horn if you think about it.
I'm not going to speak on that.
Harold Fanning Jr., Bowling Green.
So he's actually not the number 3 ranked tight end on this list. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's
He's
pretty
actually
funny.
6 in PFF ranking, but I think he was the more exciting prospect. Other than, I mean, we have Elijah Arroyo out of Miami. We got Mason Taylor out of LSU, and we got Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon. Those are the 3 guys in front of him. But this guy really stuck out to me because he is at a smaller school, so it's not like he's playing these SEC teams. It's not like he's playing these Big Ten teams.
He's still playing in the MAC though.
What's the MAC?
That's oh my god, that's his conference, Middle American Conference.
Dude, I knew that. I was just testing you. I was like,
Jesus
what's the
Christ.
MAC?
Like, I wouldn't know
Can
that.
you even tell me what the MAC? I was just testing you.
Can you name another school that's in the MAC? Can you name 3 of them without
Okay,
looking?
well,
I can
there's-
name 3.
Okay, there's Bowling Green.
Okay.
There's
I got 3 already. Don't look it up.
there's a green one.
Yeah, there's always green ones. It's like one of the dominant.
No, but it has like the letters on it, like similar to like the way.
So there's Miami, Ohio.
Miami, Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh, like 2 different schools.
No, Miami, Ohio.
There's
It's-
no way that's a real school.
Yes, it is. That's where.
Miami, Ohio.
Oh my god, dude! I think that Ben Roethlisberger went there.
Bull.
Look it up. Miami, Ohio. Then you also have Akron, and then you also have schools like Toledo and
Miami University in Oxford, Ohio.
yeah. Why would I make that up, dude?
Dude, because it sounds made
I
up.
swear to God, I think Big Ben went there.
No way. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Notable alumni, Big Ben.
Yeah, Miami of Ohio. One of the only things they've ever produced.
Bro, what?
Toledo, like I said.
I didn't even know this was a school.
Akron.
Okay, so you're telling me more people know Miami University in Oxford, Ohio than Boise State in Idaho?
Maybe. Yeah.
You're
Maybe,
capping.
I don't know.
You're capping.
I mean, you'd have to ask. You'd have
the
to ask.
population in Ohio is probably bigger than Idaho, so.
Yeah, you have to ask like a normal person. I know all these because
You know what? I'm
just
gonna
a-
go home and I'm gonna ask my dad. I'm gonna be like, "Do you know where Miami University is?" He's gonna look at me
No, no,
stupid
no.
and he's
You
gonna be like,
can't
"Oh,
say-
well, it's Miami."
You can't
dumbass."
say Miami University because the University of Miami is
No, that's what it's
Miami.
called. It's called Miami University. It's
Right.
not called Miami, Ohio.
no. But I said University of Miami. That's different.
Yes, I know. This
So-
is Miami
right,
University.
so Miami
I'm gonna ask him
University-
where Miami University is.
He's gonna think you're talking about the Florida school.
Right, but I
Right.
didn't say University
Exactly.
of Miami. I said Miami
I
University.
know. But just the way that
Dude.
people think. But anyways, a lot of people don't realize that is a school.
Well, I didn't know that. Shout out Miami University in Ohio.
Yep.
But we got Harold Fanning Jr. out of Bowling Green. He's very athletic. I don't know if this is racist to say, but he reminds me a lot of David Njoku.
That was very racist.
How's that racist? Dude, the way they play, they're both very, like, I don't know how to explain it, but they know how
David
to...
Njoku's like 6'7", bro. This guy's 6'4".
David Njoku's 6'5".
He's like he looks like he's 6'7" out
He
there.
probably looks like he's 6'7". Here, fact check me on that. But
How do you spell his last name?
Njoku.
He is how tall? 6'4", actually.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's 6'4".
He looks way bigger out there. Maybe it's the
Actually,
dreads.
That's what I'm saying. It's either the dreads or the jersey. I don't know what it does to the players, but like it like elongates their body or I don't know. Anyways,
The fact that you just elevated this guy on your list because he's of a certain skin color is actually very concerning to me.
No, not because of his skin color. Because of what
I don't see any other reason why you would do that.
No, you want me to show you why I hold him very high in my list?
No. We don't need to do that.
He had 117 receptions. And you might say, well, no shit, because there's probably no one else on this team to throw to. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. He's a junior. 117 receptions, 1,555 yards, and 10 touchdowns is what he caught. He was insane, and he had 9 carries for 65 yards and 1 touchdown. So this guy is also kind of, I'm not going to say he's like Tyler Warren, but he's like what I was saying is that this tight end position in the new state of football is where these guys are starting to do more end arounds, or where it's like a little like, here you go, like a quick handoff as he's running through. I guess you would technically call that an end around. But 9 carries, 65 yards, and he got a touchdown out of that. So he had 11 all-purpose touchdowns. He had 1,600 all-purpose yards. So
okay, the reason he had all that was because he was the number one.
Right, he was the number one option on this team.
No. Listen, you didn't even let me fucking finish.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, number one in usage of all NCAA Division I football players last year. Okay. He had a target share of 38%.
That's a big target.
Ridiculous.
That's huge. That's
no wonder his stats are the way they are.
Well,
dude.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, probably.
You know what? I think I put money on this guy at one point. I don't know.
You probably
I probably did. But anyways, like that
did.
is crazy because, like I said, 38% target share.
Actually, speaking of money, did you set your parlay?
No, I didn't.
The Heat are up at halftime right now, 62-53.
Yeah, I wonder if I would have covered. Anyways, but yeah, that target share is ridiculous,
No,
and
that's
so
stupid.
These numbers are kind of inflated in a way.
They are inflated, but you know what? I would like to see what he can do on an NFL field because 117 receptions is a crazy amount of receptions throughout the season, but we've seen it to where it is very possible for the tight end to catch 117 balls in a season. We saw it with Brock Bowers just last year. We've probably seen it with Travis Kelce. I don't know his stats off the top of my head, but Travis Kelce's probably caught 100 balls in a season. Same thing with like
Jason Witten probably did that before.
Probably Jason Witten. What's his name? My God. I'm blanking on names today. Tony Gonzalez. Tony G. Shout out Tony G. He's the top G.
The OG.
We probably saw it out of Gronk one year too, where he caught 100 receptions. I mean, like it's not unheard of for a tight end to flourish in the NFL. That's what they're meant for. Yeah, Antonio Gates. I mean, those guys are legends. So I don't think this guy's going to be a legend, but I mean, he has the potential to be a great tight end in the league. There's not a lot of teams where they have a solidified tight end. The Chargers need a tight end. The Rams need a tight end.
Cowboys.
I mean, they got Jake Ferguson, but he's always hurt.
I know. You can always upgrade from that.
Yeah, you can always upgrade. So, I mean, there's probably like 5 teams in the league that don't need a tight end right now. And those 5 teams are probably very notable. You got the Raiders, don't need a tight end. Cardinals don't need a tight end. Chiefs might need a tight end in the next couple of years, but right now they don't need a tight end. Cowboys are always like, they're always kind of using whatever tight end they got. Cowboys love their tight end position. So if they can land this guy, it probably might be an upgrade from Jake Ferguson. I don't know. I'm not going to be the one that's testing that in mini camps or, OTAs, all that stuff. But I think this guy has the value. I think he has the potential to be the number 1 tight end in this class. That's why I put him on this list.
38% target share. Out of this world.
Out of this world. I mean, there's clearly a world where he's getting open. 38%. I get it. That's a lot. You're not playing in SEC. You're not playing in Big Ten. You're not playing in all these big-time colleges. But you know what? 1,500 yards is 1,500 yards. Like 117 catches is 117 catches. You're still going up against a defense at the end of the day. It's not like there's no one else on the other side of the ball. So I put him number 3 over the other guys because I think he has the potential to flourish in the league. But I think that rounds all of our positions out, really. I wanted to end this episode with something a little fun. We're going to be doing a draft of our own. Not a mock draft. We are going to be drafting a 3-course meal of whatever we want. We're going to draft an appetizer, we're going to draft an entree, and we're going to draft a dessert as well as a drink. So technically 4, but it's 3 plates.
Wait, I thought. Never mind. I I had a different idea of what like a 3-course meal was in my mind.
Well, what's a 3-course meal to you?
I don't know.
I guess that technically it's not a 3-course meal.
Yeah, technically it's not.
Right. I guess I did that wrong because like a 3-course meal would be like steak with mashed potatoes and asparagus.
No,
right?
no. Because 3-course means that you're gonna have one thing and then another thing and then another thing. So I think I was confused. Anyways.
Well, I don't
but
know.
wait, hold on.
A 3-course meal typically consists of an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. So I am right.
No, I know. I was thinking I was wrong there. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah,
that
you made me feel dumb. Like you made me second guess myself.
But like, okay, do these all have to complement each other, or could they all be just random?
I mean, it'd be nice for them to complement each other.
Yeah, but it's my 3-course meal though.
Then you can draft gummy worms as your appetizer if you want
It's
to
not an
with
appetizer,
steak.
dude. There's no fucking.
Okay, but I'm just saying that's what you said.
Gummy worms are better, or probably a dessert, if anything.
Probably, or like on a Sunday. Actually, I'm giving you ideas. All right, so we're gonna do this snake style. So you're gonna start. That's actually a cool sound bit. Yeah. I like that. So you're gonna start. You're gonna draft your appetizer. I'm gonna draft my appetizer. Go to entree, and then it's gonna head back to you. Entree, dessert, and then it's gonna head back to me. I'm gonna get my dessert drink, and then you're gonna finish off with a drink. What are you doing over there? He's jamming out over there.
Bro, I'm queuing in this
little turntable.
See that? Yeah. Anyways, okay. Right. So who's going first?
You're going first.
Wait, flip a coin. Flip a coin. I'm tails.
I don't have a coin.
Just flip the metaphorical coin. I'm gonna flip it. Ready? Here, we'll use the Zins. Here.
Actually, wait. I might have a coin.
I have Zins right here. Look, shout out Zin.
I have a coin. I have a coin.
We have this too.
Okay, here, flip it.
Okay,
it's
hold
a
on.
penny.
All right, go ahead. Music more again.
All right.
Okay, I'm tails.
Well, I wanted to call heads anyway.
Okay. Coin is up. I can't tell what this is. Oh, it's tails. It's not heads.
Okay,
tails.
So you go first.
Hey, that was a good flip, though. Did you see that? Good rotation there.
Okay, so you got the one of one. So you're going to go
I got
appetizer.
it again, too.
Okay, buddy.
No, I did. What do you mean? Look. Oh, that time's it's heads. That's okay.
It's a heads.
My bad. Some people can't even flip a coin.
Yeah.
I realized that the other day. But yeah, so I go first? Is that
so you're going to draft your appetizer, and then it's going to go to me. I'm going to go appetizer, entree, and then it's going to go back to you. You're going to get entree, dessert, and it's going to come back to me. I'm going to get dessert, drink, and then you're going to finish off with the drink.
I wasn't paying attention to what you were saying.
Okay, so you're going to go
appetizer, boneless buffalo wings from Applebee's specifically.
Is that an appetizer? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what do you mean? It's under the appetizer section. Like it's on the appetizer section.
That's fair.
Like
that's
fair.
Fair.
Like I didn't just pull that out of my ass. Like we're fucking. It's under that section.
Appetizer. All right, I'm gonna go with a big, I'm gonna go with a big chicken Caesar salad as my appetizer.
Really?
Yeah.
Chicken Caesar salad.
Yeah, chicken Caesar, and then for my entree. Give me a nice little 14-ounce New York strip.
Oh, you love good meat, huh?
Oh, yeah.
He loves himself a nice fucking tender slab of some meat.
Okay, so now you're up with your entree and dessert.
Entree? Fuck, that's tough, dude. I like the same shit over and over. Like, it's probably going to be chicken-based. But you know what? For this experiment
Swish
here,
it up a little bit.
I'll take like a nice double bacon cheeseburger. I think that sounds good from Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh my god, we're not sponsored by Buffalo.
No,
Wild
I know,
Wings.
but I'm just trying to like be specific. You know, like
you don't got to be like meat riding them.
No, I mean you're riding enough meat for all of us, so we're good on that. You got a 14-ounce something. I don't know.
14-ounce New York strip.
That's a lot of
medium.
ounces.
Cooked medium.
Yeah, because you're a savage.
Dude, if you're not eating your meat medium, what are you doing?
If your cow doesn't moo when it gets to your table or your steak.
Don't tell me you're one of those guys where like, I need it
I don't
well
need
done.
steak. I don't need steak.
You're
Let's
gross.
put that on the
You're
record.
gross for not eating it to begin with.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
That's
but yeah,
disgusting.
let's go with a nice little bacon cheeseburger.
Okay, double
but
bacon
with some
cheeseburger?
A1 sauce on the side.
A double patty or no?
Yeah, double patty for
All right,
sure.
that's valid.
Split
With
that
what
bitch
kinda-
down the middle.
What kind of cheese?
Pepper jack. I
Okay,
mean,
that's-
American's
no, that's
fire
valid.
too.
No,
I mean,
I like-
ghost pepper cheese is fire too.
That's too
I mean,
much.
I'm just saying. I'm
Okay,
just,
now
you know,
keep it
throwing
pepper jack.
options
Keep
there.
it pepper jack.
Pepper jack's nice.
All right. And then Your dessert.
Dessert, caramel pecan silk pie from Village Inn.
Whoa!
Like that, baby.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, for my dessert, I'm gonna go with a big like skillet brownie. Have you seen the ones from the cookie something? But instead of a cookie, I'm gonna go with a brownie, a big skillet brownie.
Another good
and
dessert too would be like
brownie a la mode. So like a big like glob of like vanilla ice cream on top.
Right.
That's the way to go.
Applebee's, the Blondie, remember that?
No, I don't
Fire.
remember that.
You need to try that. I don't know if they even have it anymore, but
And then for my drink, I'm gonna go non-alcoholic here. Just give me like a classic strawberry or peach lemonade.
nice. I love strawberry lemonade.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But it's got to have fresh strawberries in there.
Right,
Like,
you gotta be able to feel the strawberry as you
Right,
as
you got to be
drink
able
it.
to suck it through the straw.
Whoa. I'm going Bud Light no matter what.
Oh, of course you are.
What did you expect?
I
Fucking
mean, like-
Sprite? Let me get a root beer. Barks.
Can I get a root beer float there,
Do you guys have a root beer, but the A1 or not A1, A&W one?
A1?
Yeah.
That's a steak sauce.
A&W root beer.
AW or AW?
Really sets the mood. You
Dude.
feel me?
I'm like, am I not as big on root beer as other people are?
It's an acquired taste.
I guess it is.
I know a lot of people who don't like it, and then I know some people
Like
like
your
my
mother.
mom who drinks nothing but Barks root
That's
beer
all she drinks.
every day, all day.
Oh, man.
You'll
All
wake
right.
up at like 5 a.m. and she's pouring herself a glass, and you look at her and she
Just a
feels
nice
guilty
crisp-
about it.
you
She's
just
like,
hear the-
it's for later, and it's like, what do you mean later? It's 5 a.m. How much later can it? Never mind. Anyways, shout out to you, mom.
Well, are you up at 5 a.m. drinking a Bud Light?
No, because I have to go to work.
Oh.
I mean,
okay,
if
but
I
like on a
didn't,
Saturday?
yeah, why not?
Then let her have her 5 a.m. root
No,
beer.
I didn't say anything. I'm just saying it's funny. I didn't say no more root beer. I
Okay.
just said, I was making an observation there.
That's valid. All right, well, that just about does it for this episode. I hope the video turns out well. If you're
That
watching
camera
it,
died for sure a long
you
time
think
ago.
so? Okay,
Yeah,
well,
dude.
if you're watching it from this
It's 2
camera,
hours long.
If you're watching it from this camera, this is the Canon. If you're watching it from this camera, this is an iPhone. So whichever one pans out, hopefully it works. Maybe both work out, and I end up putting clips of a little bit of both. I don't know. Maybe that's too much work. I don't know.
This one didn't last.
I hope you guys
guarantee
enjoyed the new setup. I hope you guys like the shelves. We just put these up literally right before hitting record. We got this nice little turf. If you guys want to give us ideas, drop them down in the comments. Put like, oh,
We
you
should
guys
also
should put this poster or this
teach
poster.
Adam how to be punctual on time, by the way.
What do you mean? I was on time.
You were on time.
Okay,
Well,
well-
this was supposed to start at 11.
What time?
I woke up at
It's
10.
6:30.
I showered, was ready by
Okay,
11.
but you know what I was doing? I was doing some other stuff.
No, I know, but that's the thing. It doesn't matter what you were doing. You weren't here when you said you would be here.
Okay, I know. I told him I was like, I'm gonna show up at 11.
And then he shows up at like
like
3, and then he's like, I got all day. I'm like, well, I had all day. And my day is halfway gone, and now it's 6:30, and I missed my parlay. So thank you.
We were supposed to start at 11, and it's 6:30.
It's 6:30, guys. That means we started at 4:30.
Oh my god. Well, I hope you guys like the new setup. We are getting 2 posters. I'm not going to spoil what they are, but we're going to get posters. They might go on this wall or
Shout out to Ian Dior, by the
this.
way.
Shout out Ian Dior. He went to the
And
concert.
Bankroll
I didn't.
Hayden. Shout out. Fuck with y'all.
but
Long
yeah.
way.
Hopefully
Anyways.
more content is coming your way, and we will see you later. Peace.
Peace.